Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, an original story by Ernest Kenoy. The time, early in the 21st century. The story, Martian Sam.
The whole thing started the first day of spring training. I'd gotten into camp 2 or 3 days before and started to loosen up a little. Because at my age, even batting fungos to an outfielder can tie your muscles up into knots. Although, as a matter of fact, I'd bet that I was in better condition than half the Humpty Dumptys on the club. We hadn't won a pennant since, 1997, or was it 98? And it looked like we had a permanent lease on 12th place. The Los Angeles Dodgers were in pretty sad shape, and that's the honest truth. I was standing behind the batting cage watching a couple of kids from our Tokyo farm team when Tommy Watson from the New York Times Tribune News caught me by the elbow.
Hi, Joe. Well, how does it look this spring?
Well, Tommy, the club has been considerably improved.
Mm-hmm.
Several of the youngsters are ready to deliver this year, and, of course, we expect sterling performances from our veterans. Is that what you want?
Oh, come on now, Joe. Come off it. Has old man Castle loosened up enough to buy a catcher?
Not that I know of.
Well, how about a left-handed pitcher?
Well, they're those two boys from Tokyo.
Oh, come on. They couldn't throw a cream puff across the dining room table. Well, how does it feel to be first base coach for a team that'll clinch last place by July 4th?
You're very kind, Tommy. Very kind.
I just hate to see that old tightwad Castle run this club into the ground. I remember my father used to tell me about the times way back, when they were still in Brooklyn. And I can remember going down to Robinson Stadium when I was a kid to watch doubleheaders with the Denver Giants. Now look at them. A bunch of overage bums and a few kids who could hardly make the high school team. And all Castle's money goes to buy sports rockets for that screwball son of his. Oh, Joe, baseball isn't what it used to be.
The sad truth of the matter was that Tommy was putting it mild. Old man Castle, the owner, begrudged every nickel that was spent on the ball club. I don't think anybody had gotten a raise in the last 5 years. The manager was old Rabbit Cinderella, and Castle used to issue statements every year about how he had great faith in him. Truth of the matter was that Rabbit would work for less than any other manager this side of the Sally League. You'll see what I mean when I tell you that the club traveled in an old four-jet Strato rocket like some barnstorming semi-pro team. I was in the locker room looking down at my feet to avoid looking around at what passed for ball players on this Los Angeles Dodgers when Rabbit come up to me.
Joe.
Yeah?
Get your pants on and come into the office.
Oh, what's the matter?
Never mind. Come on.
Okay. Listen, Rabbit. What are we going to do about a left-handed pitcher?
Later. Joe, I had an idea. I thought we could take one of the right-handers and sew the letter backwards across his shirt, and maybe that'd fool the other club.
Yeah.
Come on inside.
Or maybe we ought to disguise Iron Mike, the batting practice robot.
All right, that's enough. Joe, the old man's dead.
What?
I said he's dead, old man Castle. Heart attack. I figured we had him scared so he'd loosen up a little dough for players, and then he goes and does this to us. Can't trust nobody.
Well, who gets the club?
His son.
What, you mean Whistling Willie Castle, the Jetstream playboy?
That's who.
But he doesn't know anything about a ball
He
club.
doesn't have to. Old man Castle owns 72% of the stock. And it all goes to Willie.
Well, what's going to happen?
Beats me. Probably sell us all out and buy a new rocket.
Is he here?
It was in the Earth-Moon small boat race when it happened. They got a message to him when he hit the direct beam off Lunaport. He could have landed and taken the shuttle back and made it in one day. But he was leading in the race, so he just kept going. He's due in a couple hours.
You think you can get him to go for a left-handed pitcher?
I don't know. We'll have to try.
Of course, you've heard of Willie Castle. About once a year, he cracks up some expensive sports rocket or gets himself picked up in a survival suit by the IP, floating somewhere in an orbit around the moon. He almost got put away a couple of years ago when he took a debutante up in a Harrison Kilgore cruiser and kept her in orbit for 2 months. The old man was able to kill the abduction charges by claiming that they'd been married at the time. And one time when the old man had a couple of us up at the lodge he lives in during spring training, I saw the kid's room. It was filled with marak heads that he'd shot on safaris on Mars. He came down to the training camp a week later. He buzzed over in a Harley Donaldson atmospheric and set the ship down in the hole between second and third, burning out half the infield. I saw a rabbit get him to one side and start talking fast, so I sneaked over and listened.
Well, Mr. Castle, of course, you know we're all very sorry about your father's death. And
He had it coming, the old tightwad.
Oh, well, I see.
I couldn't convince him that a credit isn't any good to you, stuffed in a mattress. You got to spend, isn't that right?
Yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, that's what I wanted to see you about. Now, there's a boy in one of the Milwaukee farm clubs, a left-handed pitcher. I can get him for about $30,000 and a couple of players. And
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right, Mr. Castle. You got to spend money. And if we could get a little help in pitching and maybe an outfielder or two...
You mean spend money for baseball players?
Well, yeah. That was what I had in mind.
Now, wait a minute. This baseball team was my father's hobby, like some old men collect stamps or play checkers. Now, in the terms of the will, I can't sell it. But I'm sure not going to throw any good money away on something foolish like baseball players.
Oh, I see.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to need all the cash I can lay my hands on.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've got a chance to buy a 3-pile nuclear racer that'll cut 2 weeks off the round trip to Mars.
Oh, I see. You wouldn't want to spend money on anything as foolish as ball play.
That's it. You've got the idea now. Oh, by the way, Mr. Cinadilla,
Yeah?
I find it's quite embarrassing to me to have my friends continually make fun of me because the Dodgers are in last place.
Well, as a matter of fact, that gets to be a touchy point with me, too.
Well, I'd like to see it change, so if you don't mind, would you please have them somewhere in a more respectable position, say third or second, within a month or two?
Now, look here, Mr. Castle. I can't make bricks without straw. You won't spend the credit for a ball player, and I can't...
You do your best.
Well, after that interview with the new owner, Rabbit went out and tied one on, and I had to run the ball club for 2 days till we got him straightened out. But I can't say as I blamed him. We won one game in the Grapefruit League. We played the Jacksonville high school team and squeaked out a 13-12 victory. What the Yankees and Braves did to us, I'd rather not say. We opened the season at home, and a mediocre pitcher for Pittsburgh threw a no-hitter at us. Actually, that's not quite accurate. The truth is he just pitched, and we didn't hit anything. We lost 10 straight from opening day, and we didn't lose on the 11th day because it rained. Rabbit and me piled into his 97 copter and flew out to the Castle Estate up near Arrowhead. I was in pretty bad shape. For one thing, Rabbit's copter has a wobble, and I was feeling green around the gills by the time we dropped down on the port. Willie Castle was very excited by the time we finally got to see him. He was puttering around a whole mess of stuff piled up in the middle of the floor.
Say, how do you like this? Isn't it exciting?
Yeah? What is it?
It's a Durgo stick.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And they use it in Mars in a game played between two villages. You see, all the men on one side line up, and then all the men on the other side try to knock them over with these sticks. Isn't it a beauty?
Yeah. Look, Mr. Castle, I got to speak to you. We got to have a left-handed pitcher.
Oh, you mean for the baseball team?
Yeah, that's right, the baseball team. That's what we got to have a left-handed pitcher for. Yeah.
Well, now, I can't really be bothered with details of that sort. I'm leaving for Mars in the morning. Oh, by the way, I haven't had a chance to look at the standings recently. How are we doing?
Mr. Castle, we may well set him out on record for consecutive games lost. Now, look here. You told me you can't sell the club. And you said you get tired of your friends kidding you about being last. Well, take it from me, Mr. Castle, and I know. Unless we get some ball players on that club, It's going to be last for the next 22 years.
Now, look here, Cinderella,
I know you can fire me, but I don't care who you hire as manager. Unless you get him a left-handed pitcher and a couple of other players, that club is going to stay last.
Oh. Oh, well, then I'll see what I can do. Don't worry about it.
What do you mean, don't worry about it? I got to go out there every day and try to make those bums go through the motions.
Now, look, I really have to pack. And besides, I'm expecting a new shipment of equipment from Aberfitch and Comby. Now, just don't worry about it. I'll think of something. Goodbye.
Next day, we lost a doubleheader to Cincinnati by a score faintly reminiscent of basketball. And that's the way it went. Oh, we won a couple here and there. Like they say, you can't lose them all. About the middle of the season, we were so far behind that the local papers just dropped us off the standings, didn't even bother to report it. It was about this time that Willie Castle returned from Mars. He came out to see us at the ballpark just before the massacre.
Well, I noticed, Mr. Cinderella, that we're still in last place.
Yeah, Mr. Castle, we are. We are lucky we are still in the league. With the ball players that you've given me.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that I made a small bet with one of the boys at the country club.
Yeah?
Yes. I bet 1,000,000 credits that we'd win the pennant this year.
That's nice.
You don't seem to understand. I expect to win that bet.
Yeah, sure. And I expect to put on a Monroe suit and win the Miss Universe title.
I told you to leave everything to me. Now, I'd like you to come into my office, if you please. I have a few things I'd like to talk over with you. For one thing, I've signed a ball player.
You what? Oh, look here, Mr. Castle. This I got a complaint about. My contract is clear. No ball player gets signed without my okay.
Just come into my office, please. I'll explain everything.
That night, when Rabbit went up to the plate to hand in the starting lineups, I could tell something was happening. For one thing, old Baldy Snuff, the umpire, was looking at the card like it was written in Arabic.
All right, who's the pitcher?
It's written right there in the card.
Ceramo, Castro, Perbaco...
What's the matter? Can't you read?
Oh, come on now. You kidding? Is he Armenian?
Nope. Martian.
Martian?
That's right. Martian.
Of course, the riot didn't really start until our pitcher got out on the mound. Fred Kurtz, the Milwaukee manager, came running out like he'd been shot from a jet. Baldy Snuff was hollering. The whole Milwaukee bench was looking for a fight, but Rabbit just stood there quiet and calm.
He can't do that. He can't do that. Look at that thing. What is that?
That's my pitcher. We call him Sam.
But you can't play with that. That ain't a ball player. That isn't even a human being.
What are you trying to pull, Rabbit?
Listen, I got my rights. I sign them legal. Here's the contract.
But now look here, Rabbit. You can't get away with that. That thing's only about 2 feet high.
18 inches, as a matter of fact.
But how's he gonna pitch? He hasn't even got any arms.
Sure he has. He's got it curled up. Hey, Sam, wind up.
But that arm, it's
32 feet long.
that ain't legal. You gonna let him get away with that?
Oh, there's one other thing. On the end of that arm, look, you see? That's his eye.
Rabbit, I'm gonna punch you right in the nose.
Now take it easy, Kurtz. Take it easy.
Look, I got the papers all here. I've got the United Nations Concordat with the Marshall Colonial Government, a Supreme Court decision in the case of Schultz versus Karawa, Kalpabal, Kalfitz, et al. It's legal. Any Martian citizen is entitled to the same legal rights and privileges as a citizen of Earth. And among those is the right to play ball in a national league.
I protest again. I forfeit the game. Rabbit, I'm gonna punch you right in the nose.
As a matter of fact, the game that night was postponed because of riot. The next morning, everybody met in the commissioner's office, and sure enough, it was legal. Martian Sam, we come to call him, was a legally signed player for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I told you not to worry. I found Sam in a village just north of Marsport. He's a klugel hunter.
A what?
A klugel hunter. Klugels are fast little animals that run about 80 miles an hour, and the hunters go out and throw rocks at them and kill them. Sam's a klugel hunter. He ought to be a pretty good pitcher.
How about the other clubs? What happens if they get klugel hunters?
Oh, they won't. You see, it's basically contrary to Martian psychology. They won't ever leave their own villages.
Then how come Sam left?
Well, it was an unfortunate accident, really. You see, when I first met him, I gave him a stick of chewing gum.
Yeah?
Well, he got hooked.
What do you mean, hooked?
Well, for Martians, the chicle seems to be habit-forming. Sam is a gum addict. Well, naturally, as soon as this was discovered, the traffic was prohibited. There's a death penalty for importing of chewing gum to Mars. But it was too late for Sam, so he came out with me.
You mean all we gotta do is keep him supplied with chewing gum?
That's right. I told you I'd take care of it, didn't I? Now you've got your left-handed pitcher.
Sam pitched that night. He struck out 27 batters, and we won 3-0. Horace Kelly, the catcher, had a little trouble at first, but he soon figured out how to get around it. He'd just hold his mitt up and close his eyes, and when he heard a thunk, he'd reach in and pull the ball out and throw it back to Sam. You can imagine what it was like being a batter up there against Sam. Pitcher's mound is only 60 feet away from the plate as it is, and with Sam's 32-foot arm, well, we didn't lose the game the rest of the season. Of course, we started out so far behind that by the last game of the season, we were tied with the Milwaukees, and we were playing them at Milwaukee. The winner of this game won the pennant. Of course, it was a lead pipe cinch for us. Marsh and Sam had pitched every day since he joined the club. He looked real cute out on a mound, standing 18 inches high in his little Dodgers uniform and in that long 32-foot arm. We had taken a finished batting practice at Milwaukee County Stadium, and I was standing next to Willie Castle's box talking to him.
Well, it looks like I won't have to be embarrassed about owning the Los Angeles Dodgers anymore, eh?
That's right. With Sam pitching, that means we win the pennant and the series.
Well, I think that's very nice. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of taking the whole team on a barnstorming tour through Mars after the series is over.
Hey, Joe! Joe! Oh, Mr. Castle.
Well, what's the matter?
It's Sam. Sam.
Well, what's the matter? Is anything wrong with him? Did he get his chewing gum?
Yeah, he got his chewing gum, but he's just lying on the floor in the locker room moaning.
He is? We better get a doctor.
Yeah, and all those scales keep falling off him.
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
I know what it is.
What?
It's the molting season. All the scales will fall off. It'll take him a week to grow new scales.
But he can pitch, can't he?
No, he can't. Any violent movement would bring on great pain.
Well, there goes the ball game. Marsh and Sam can't pitch. We're dead.
Rabbit put it mild. We were good and dead. We pitched Harry Kosnowski, our best human pitcher, but our best human pitcher was none too good. He rose to the occasion, however, and the score was tied going into the last half of the ninth.
That's the way, Harry, old boy. That's the way. Pour it in. Come on, Harry. You can do it, baby.
Unfortunately, he couldn't. He hit a streak of wildness and walked 3 straight men. Things were very quiet in the Dodgers' dugout. One more walk would force in a run, the ball game would be over. Then as we all sat there staring out at the mound where Harry was sweating, we heard a little shuffling noise.
Oh, what's that? Sam! Sam, what are you doing out here?
And then with the little squeaks that he used for talking, Sam told us what he wanted to do. He wanted to pitch.
But, Sam, you can't. You're molten. Your scales. All right, Sam, all right. If that's the way you want it, you get out there. You pitch to that one batter. It's 2 out. You strike him out, it'll go to extra innings, and we'll win the ball game.
And so Marsh and Sam trudged out to the pitcher's mound, his tiny legs lagging with great pain. You could just tell the little guy was hurting bad.
Now pitching for Los Angeles, Martian Sam.
We knew that Sam could do it now. We only had to face one batter and we'd get our chance again. Horse threw the ball out to him and Sam stood there, his eye on the end of his 32-foot arm, blinking with pain.
All right, batter up. Let's get a batter in there.
The umpire called for the batter and nobody came out of the Milwaukee dugout.
Hey, come on, let's go. Hey, Kurtz, get a man up in there.
What's the matter, Baldy?
Let's get a batter in there. You're delaying the game.
What do you mean I'm delaying the game?
You get a batter up there.
But I got a batter up there.
What do you mean? There's nobody in the batter's box.
Baldy, I got a contract here for you to read.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Read it.
Well, of course, everybody knows what happened. The Milwaukee Braves had signed an intelligent virus from from the moons of Jupiter. He was up there in the batter's box, but of course you couldn't see him without an electron microscope. He walked on 4 straight pitches, forcing in a run, and the Milwaukees won the pennant. But like I say, that's baseball. You can't win them all.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Time in the Round by Fritz Leiber, the story of a dictator who suffered more than any dictator in history. He was so puny, and his victims were so impregnable. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Martian Sam, an original story written for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Mandel Kramer as Joe, Santos Ortega as Rabbit, Ivor Francis as Willie, Jack Orrison as Baldy, Bob Hastings as Tommy, and Bill Zuckert as Kurtz. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall, celebrant of these somewhat ominous ceremonies. We are told when there is no law, there is no transgression. But the fact is, there is never the complete absence of law. Even where you have nothing, you still have law. A vacuum is absolutely nothing, isn't it? And yet, isn't it subject to a host of scientific laws, rules, standards? The point to all this? There are so many regulations, known and unknown, that govern our lives, that everybody has to be doing something wrong. Sometime. Somehow. Somewhere. The question is, of what are you guilty? I can't help you if you don't tell me the truth.
I am telling the truth, Doctor.
Now tell me what is really bothering you.
I don't know what's bothering me.
Why do you feel frightened?
I don't know. I'm afraid of something.
What?
I don't know, Doctor. You have to help me.
I can't. Because you lied to me. You say you are a stockbroker?
That's the truth.
Then why do you carry a gun? You have a small automatic in the special leg holster below your knee. Mr. Carpenter, are you now ready to tell the facts that you lied about, glossed over, or left out the first time? Our mystery drama, The Aliens, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Paul Hecht. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Contact, the 12-hour allergy capsule. I'll be back shortly with Act One. Man, arrogant, reckless, strides this earth as if he owns it, despoiling, destroying, abusing, and wasting nature's bounty for his convenience and pleasure. But does man actually own this earth? Man, with his intelligence, had made himself the swiftest and strongest of all the living things on this planet. But it is written, the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong. It is 7:30 in the morning. John Carpenter, Jr., is having breakfast.
What was that?
Oh, will you look what I did? I dropped the big platter.
Well, you should be more careful.
Well, it would have to be the one Aunt Maud gave
Why
us.
can't you pay attention to what you're doing?
All right. All right. What is this? For the past week, you've been snarling at me like some neurotic Wolverine.
Well, I'm...
You're what?
Nothing. I'm all right.
This particular plate. You never liked it. For that matter, you're not unusually fond of Aunt Maud either. So what's all the fussing about?
Is there any more coffee?
Not for you.
You mean no more coffee for me?
I'll tell you why. Just listen to yourself.
What's wrong with me?
You're very nervous.
Me? Nervous?
You're irritable, agitated, restless.
That's nonsense.
Something's simmering inside you. Anything seems to trigger an explosion. All I did was drop a dish and you'd think a bomb had gone off.
I'm going to miss my train.
3 no-trons.
Well, what is that supposed to mean, Louise?
That's the shutout bid. And that's your way of saying the discussion is over.
Look, Louise, it's 7:30.
And you have half an hour to get to the station, and it only takes 7 minutes.
I like to get there early.
Yes. That's what you like. What you don't like is to discuss a matter of the utmost importance. Your health, John. You're not well.
There is nothing wrong with me. Ask Dr. Marks. I saw him less than 2 weeks ago.
Then why are you losing weight? And why don't you sleep nights?
Oh, now I am going to be late.
John, can't you tell me what's wrong?
I don't know.
Then you admit
Nothing is wrong, Louise. Nothing.
Can you be home early tonight? We're having the Swansons for dinner and bridge.
Oh, for crying out loud.
It's Jim and Marge, and you love them both.
All right.
John, see a doctor.
I have already seen Dr. Marks. Now, how many times do...
Why don't you see someone about your nerves?
You mean a psychiatrist?
Yes. You have a problem.
Well, in the first place, I do not have a problem. In the second place, there's nothing wrong with me. And in the third place, I will not see a psychiatrist. I want to thank you, Dr. Byrne, for seeing me without an appointment.
You said it was an emergency, Mr.
Mr. Smith. John Smith.
Your age?
37.
Married?
Yeah.
Children?
None. Well, we had a little boy, but he died in an accident. Look, I don't know what's the matter with me, Doctor. I'm edgy, fidgety. I blow up at trifles.
There may be some systemic disorder.
No, I had a complete checkup. Less than 2 weeks ago, the doctor found nothing.
You told him about these symptoms?
Yeah. He told me I was in excellent shape physically, but maybe I was working too hard.
Are you?
Well, no more than usual.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Smith?
Oh, I'm a stockbroker.
Why did you pause when you answered? Are you telling me the truth?
What do you mean?
That doesn't answer my question.
Of course I'm telling you the truth.
You dislike your profession?
Certainly not. What kind of a question is that?
It's the kind of question you're paying me to ask.
I'm sorry. Well, that was stupid of me. But you see now how I react to people.
Are you under any unusual pressures?
No.
What are you concealing from me, Mr. Smith?
What makes you think I'm concealing anything?
Try to describe the way you feel.
I've already told you, nervous.
And you can't account for it. No problems at your office?
No, none.
At home?
No.
If I were to ask your wife, what would she tell me?
She'd say I've suddenly become excitable, apprehensive.
2 words there I would like to discuss. First, suddenly. This is something new?
Yeah, I've always been calm. I've had excellent self-control. I need that in my business.
Oh, really? I know some highly excitable stockbrokers. Well, the second interesting word you used, apprehensive. Why are you apprehensive?
Did I say apprehensive? Well, it's all part of being nervous and excitable, isn't it?
No, not quite. Apprehensive suggests a feeling of foreboding, fear. Are you afraid of anything, Mr. Smith?
Well, to tell you the truth, I am afraid of something.
What?
I don't know. You see, you keep asking these questions, and I have to keep answering, I don't know, because the truth is, I don't know.
It's quite possible to be nervous without knowing why, but afraid? No. You must be afraid of someone.
No one.
something.
Well, you see, that's what has me licked, Doctor. It's something unknown, something I can't name or describe. Can you help me?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because I know you're not telling me the whole truth.
Doctor, I don't know what's bothering me.
The whole truth about yourself.
What's to tell? I'm a broker. I'm with Valentine and Sterling.
For example, why do you carry a gun?
A gun?
You have a small automatic in a special holster below your knee.
Well,
Because you're nervous and upset, you're being careless. That is why I was able to catch a glimpse of it, Mr. Smith. I would assume that a man who carries a gun in a leg holster is quite familiar with and adept in the use of firearms. Right. Shall we begin again? Are you ready to tell me the truth this time?
The truth?
Tell me some facts about yourself that you left out, glossed over, or lied about the first time. Now, what is your name? What do you do for a living? And what do you think your problem is?
Doctor, I am not free to tell you.
Then, how can you expect me to treat you intelligently?
I may have told you too much already. I'm sorry. I'd better go.
I'm afraid your battery's dead.
Yeah, I guess so. It was just perfect this morning.
May I be of assistance?
Oh, could you help me jump start it?
Sorry, I don't have those wires.
Oh, that's okay. I got it.
I see you're a man who prepares for emergencies.
Well, you never can tell what... Now, what could have happened to my...
Something wrong?
What could have happened to the cables? I always keep them in the trunk. I know they were here.
Well, may I give you a lift?
Oh, no. It's all right. Thanks. I can take a cab.
Cab stand seems to be empty.
Thanks. I'll call my wife, have her come down here to the station and pick me... Oh, no. Can't do that. Her car's in for service.
Well, my offer is still good.
Are you sure it's not an inconvenience?
Not at all. Get into my car.
Oh, you just saved my life. This is one night I can't afford to be late. My wife's best friends are coming to dinner.
I understand.
Oh, I live at 19 Cleveland Drive. I hope that isn't out of your way.
Oh, no.
I don't think I've seen you before. You live around here?
Just visiting.
My name is Carpenter. John Carpenter, Jr., to give it the full handle.
How do you do? I'm Ivan Ivanovich Plotnik.
Oh, you're not an American.
I also have another name. Sasna.
Sasna?
I'm sure you've heard of it. In English, it means pine tree.
Pine tree?
Yes, pine tree. It's my code name. And it happens to be your code name, too.
What do you know about pine tree?
Here we are on opposite sides. Yet each of us finds himself on a similar project. Pine tree. Why are you reaching for your gun? If I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead by now.
All right, what do you want?
I don't know.
You're a foreign agent?
So are you. Both of us are secret agents.
But what's your purpose in revealing yourself?
As far as revealing myself is concerned, your people know who I am. Just as my people know who you are. You have your cover as a stockbroker. I have my cover as a journalist. No one is taken in. Both sides allow it to continue. Why? Because we're not important, you and I. We're only small fish. But small fish are also necessary. They're part of the food chain.
No, never mind all that. Why have you personally approached me?
No matter how many times you will ask me that question, I will have to give you the same answer. I don't know yet.
You want to defect?
Defect? Whatever for?
Then, is it your purpose to get me to defect?
I keep telling you I don't know my purpose. That's why I arranged for us to meet.
You must have drained my battery.
Yes.
Why?
I wanted us to talk. There's no one on my side I can talk to.
Well, I wouldn't know about that.
There's no one on your side you can talk to either.
That's not true.
Why did you go to a psychiatrist?
How do you know I went to a psychiatrist?
Why?
You know so much, you tell me.
You went because you're upset, nervous, and agitated.
Well, that's no great feat of deduction. Obviously, I'm on edge.
And so am I. I hide it better. But for the past 2 weeks, I can't sleep. I'm just like you. I thought perhaps we could compare notes, help each other.
Help each other? Why? We're enemies.
I'm not your enemy right now.
Come on. What do you think it's all about? It's your people against my people.
I said right now. Right now. It's you and me.
We are still enemies.
Yes, but we have the same problem. We don't even know what the problem is. I need your help.
You need my help?
Yes, and you need mine. I think Sasna is just a little bit ahead of Pine Tree. So I just happen to be a little more frightened.
Look, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the project that frightens both of us. Now, why? You can trust me.
How do I know that?
I'm trusting you. It's something terrifying, is that the whole world is about to be destroyed.
Yeah, I feel the same thing.
Something that has nothing to do with my country, or your country, or any country. So I said to myself, why waste time fighting each other when we're faced with something that can destroy us both?
Something that threatens to destroy us all. Now I know it. That's what I feel. That's what's being communicated to me. But what is it? Why?
What is it? And why? You know by now we have an orderly procedure. In the first act, we ask the question. It's only in the second act that you can hope for some of the answers. And yet, you already have a clue, an extremely powerful clue, that will enable you to answer the most important question of all. And what is that clue? It has been stated forcefully and plainly. You think back on it until I return shortly with Act 2. Life for all of us is subject to certain rules and regulations. Whatever we do is performed according to the guidelines set by society. And yet, now and then, a man decides to break the mold. A Caesar crosses the Rubicon. A Nelson holds a telescope to a blind eye and says, I do not see the signal. A Gauguin leaves a life of the utmost Parisian respectability to become a beachcomber painter in the South Seas. And tonight, John Carpenter, Jr. and Ivan Ivanovich Plotnik have also crossed the line.
When did the fear start for you?
The day I was assigned to the project.
The same with me.
Psychic communication. I didn't even know why I was put on it.
I didn't either. My whole experience is in journalism.
I always wanted to be a journalist, a reporter, a writer.
What happened?
I went to college on a football scholarship. You know what that is?
I think so.
Yeah, I was so busy playing football, I had very little time to read. I made All-America. You know what that is?
I'm not sure.
No, well, it doesn't matter. Anyhow, this brokerage firm offered me a job, and after a while I discovered the whole firm was a cover for a secret agency. Well, I stayed with it.
You like it?
Yeah, sure. It's interesting. What has your outfit discovered?
Well, everybody knows there's psychic communication among animals. Now we've discovered it exists among plant life.
Yeah, that's where we are.
We're getting indications that even so-called non-living matter has a psychic system of communication.
Well, maybe there's no such thing as non-living matter. Maybe all matter has some form of life.
That's what's being told to me.
How is it being told to you?
How? Well, not in words.
In thought?
Not exactly. More by feeling.
Feelings, yeah, that's right. Instead of understanding something, I just feel it.
It's as if it hasn't been told to your brain, but absorbed by your nerves.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. And I have received this feeling that the world is about to be taken over by a force.
An alien force.
Aliens.
Yes, aliens.
Who are they?
I don't know.
But you do feel they're going to destroy us all.
Yes, that's why I'm frightened. And you feel the same way. Did you try to tell anyone on Pine Tree?
I started to. I could see from the looks I was getting, no one had the vaguest idea of what I was talking about.
When I started to talk about it, I also got looks. So I dropped it.
Pine Tree and Cessna. Why are you and I the only ones who feel this fear?
Maybe we're the only ones who are psychically susceptible.
I'm really the most down-to-earth, practical guy I know.
So am I.
Geez, I often wondered, how do you fellows handle your wives, huh?
Mine thinks I'm a journalist. Yours?
She thinks I'm a stockbroker.
The aliens, if that's what they are. Could they be from another world?
Yeah, I don't know. That's all I keep saying these days. I don't know. Ivan, what are we going to do?
Well, you and I, we've taken the first step.
John, wake up.
Cut it out.
John.
What? Louise. What's wrong?
You were having a nightmare.
Nightmare? No, that's impossible.
I'm telling you.
It can't be. I was sleeping very, very quietly.
No. You were howling and shouting.
If I were having a nightmare, I would know about it, wouldn't I?
I'm telling you.
I was howling and shouting. What was I saying?
I don't know. It was a kind of funny shouting.
Funny?
As if there was a pattern to it.
What does that mean?
As if you were talking in some kind of new language.
Oh, Louise.
Oh, John. What's wrong?
I can't tell you.
That means that there is something wrong.
Darling, please don't ask me questions.
John, I have the right to know.
Yes, you do have the right, but please, just now, don't insist on it. The best way, the only way you can help me is to let me alone. Are you busy, Mr. Brady?
Oh, come in, John. Sit down.
I haven't slept in the last 2 nights.
Anything wrong?
Yes. I've wrestled with this, but I don't know any other way to handle it. I've been exchanging information with an agent from the other side.
John...
You're going to ask me how, when, why, and... Well, it's not that simple. Okay, well, to begin with, they also have a top-secret psychic communication project.
Well, that's to be expected.
It's called Cessna.
Cessna?
Yeah, it's their word for pine tree. Can you imagine that? Or is it a coincidence?
Continue.
There's something about this project that we're on that terrifies me.
Why?
I have a feeling that... It's a feeling of approaching disaster. I know that sounds melodramatic, but I feel it. The agent from the other side, he approached me because he feels it too.
The agent's name?
Ivan Ivanovich Plotnik.
And?
Well, that's it.
Well, what'd you tell him?
He told me as much as I told him, and, well, we're both at about the same stage on the project.
He approached you because he feels this fear is terror. You believe him?
Yes, I do, because I know he can't talk to any of his own people any more than I can talk to any of my own people.
Now, wait a minute. You can talk to me, John.
Well, not really, Mr. Brady. You don't seem to understand what I'm saying.
I do. I understand you're afraid.
But you don't feel it. You don't feel frightened by some terrible alien thing that will soon destroy the world.
Alien? Alien in the sense of foreigner?
An alien force.
Out of this planet?
I think so.
John.
Yeah, I know. You're going to tell me I'm working too hard, that I need a rest.
This agent is cover?
Journalist.
To whom else have you spoken about your fears?
Well, my wife.
What have you said to her?
Nothing. She keeps telling me I have to do something, see a doctor.
And have you?
Oh, yes.
What's his name?
I didn't tell him anything.
Even so.
His name is Byrne.
About the agent. Keep seeing him and report the results of each visit.
Yes, sir.
String along with it, but be careful. As you know by now, this is a dangerous business, and everyone engaged in it is dangerous.
I trust him.
Why?
Again, you'll think I'm crazy. Because I don't get any feelings of fear or mistrust when he's around.
Well, that's hardly a...
Sir, we are engaged on a project that is investigating the nature and possible uses of psychic communication. And so some of us may be more prone to psychic disturbances.
Would you like me to take you off the project?
You can't.
Why can't I?
Because only people like me belong on that project. Susceptible people like me.
All right, John. But be careful. Very careful.
Ivan!
Over here.
I came as soon as I received your message.
My message? Do you realize what you're saying?
Yes. Yes, you sent a message. Not through a wire, not through an airwave, not on a paper.
My brain to yours.
How did you send it?
How did you receive it?
I don't know. It just happened.
This thing, this force, it's entering into us.
What we have just done, you and I, this is a revolution. But how do we explain it?
I don't know.
I think there's a kind of central communication system, and that anyone who knows how can hook into it.
I feel that. But I also feel pain.
Yeah.
Something hurts. Do you feel it?
What? Wait. Yeah, yes, I do.
I feel as if I'm on fire.
Ivan.
Listen.
What's that? Something's trying to reach me. It's saying something.
The pain.
Is it saying something to you, too?
I don't know. The pain.
Try to understand.
I know only one thing, an alien force invading the Earth.
Try to understand.
We must fight it. Your people, my people, we must fight it together.
I feel something else.
We must go back together. Report back together. Tell them, warn them, the aliens.
Yes, the aliens. Ivan, something about the aliens.
We must fight them.
Ivan, it is reaching me. An alien force is destroying the Earth.
Is it too late?
It is not too late. An attack. No, a counterattack is being ready.
Counterattack?
Against the aliens.
Then our superiors do know. I feel the understanding now. We are preparing an attack against the aliens.
Who is preparing the counterattack? Who?
We are.
Who are we?
Your government. My government. Evidently in secret they've been working together. And they have prepared.
Listen with all your nerves. That is not what's happening. The message we're getting is not coming from human beings. Try to understand.
Then who? Who is sending the message?
It is saying the aliens must be destroyed if we are to save the world. I think I understand.
What?
I know who the aliens are, Ivan. I know.
Who? Tell me.
Don't you hear?
Yes. But it isn't true.
Yes, it is. It is. We are the aliens. We, the human race, are the aliens.
We are the aliens. We, the human race. That's quite a discovery for an intelligence operative. Although, to tell the truth, such a thing has been suspected by many people for many years. But why has it become so apparent to John Carpenter and Ivan Plotnik? As I told you, the basic clue was handed to you back in the middle of Act 1. And it has even been repeated. Well, I suppose many of you will just have to wait for Act 3. Nothing human is alien to me, said the Roman poet Terence. However, here we seem to have a situation where everything human seems alien to something else. John Carpenter, Jr., a secret agent, seems to have blundered into the most dangerous secret in the world. And the problem is, what can he do about it? We are the aliens?
We are going to be destroyed.
Why? By whom?
Communicate with it, Ivan. Try to understand it.
There is so much pain.
Yes, because it's new for us to think like this. It's not the way human beings think, by making pictures in the brain. This is communicating through changes of the body. You understand pain because you feel pain.
Who is talking to us?
Oh, this isn't talking. It's transferring ideas. We are going to be destroyed unless... Unless what? Listen, Ivan. Help me try to understand.
Unless we become part of the Earth. Yes, the Earth. But we are part of the Earth.
We are not part of the Earth. We are not part of the chain. We will be destroyed.
That's the message you've been getting. We will be destroyed.
Yes, sir. Now, here's what I suggest. We should meet with the members of their project, compare notes, and try to find a way to save ourselves.
Now, John...
Please try to understand. The whole human race can be wiped out.
John,
I know this is unorthodox, and there might even be hell to pay upstairs, but it's an emergency.
Now, John,
there is
stop
no time.
All right. We'll do it this way. Bring in Ivan Ivanovich Plotnik.
Yes, sir.
Well, go ahead, call him.
I have already notified him.
What?
Oh, yes. You see, this is all part of it.
Part of what?
Part of our psychic communication. This is what our project was set up to discover. Plotnik and I already know how to use it. And the trouble is, in using it, we also learn other things. You see, because to use it, you sort of hook into a universal communication system and you hear what other things are thinking.
Things?
Yes. Yes, things, what we call inanimate objects, stones, forces, gravity, electricity, winds, clouds, everything that's part of the earth.
I see.
No. No, you don't. You're treating me like a newcomer. Look, I've been in the service for 15 years. I know that technique, lead the poor fish on.
Now, John, wait a minute. I want to help you.
What help is there you can give me? The whole human race faces a holocaust.
Why don't you bring Plotnik here and we can discuss it?
No, because I see what's on your mind. Bring Ivan Plotnik here so you can arrest him?
No, that's not why I want you to bring him here.
Don't resort to lies, Mr. Brady. I won't do it. Even now, I'm warning him. Stay away, Ivan. Hide. Leave the country.
I give you my word. He won't be harmed in any way.
No. I've been around. I've seen solemn words and promises broken. In the light of... What's that again? Oh, yes. A higher necessity.
John, don't you see we're on to it?
On to what?
Whatever your game is. You want something. I don't know what it is. So you invent this science fiction horror story and this cooperative enemy agent. There's no such person.
There is an agent named Ivan Ivanovich.
All right, John. It happens. I've seen it happen. It's almost the way it is in the armed forces. A man gets combat fatigue.
There is nothing wrong with me.
Our life is filled with constant pressure. It's hazardous. When was the last time you had a vacation?
You placed me on this project.
It was a mistake.
And the project is a success. I have learned to communicate psychically with an agent from the other side of vital importance. We have discovered that the entire human race is in grave danger of extinction. How? I don't know that yet. But it will become clear. It will. Now, don't treat me as if I was some kind of a nut.
Now, look, John, what happened to you happens to the best of us. A little rest.
Yeah, in other words, you're going to put me away, huh?
You need rest and treatment.
What if I refuse to go?
I'm sorry, John. But you simply don't have that option.
Yvonne, are you listening to me? Why don't you respond? Yvonne, I don't seem to be able to reach you. No, are you dead? Did they kill you? I need your help. Who's going to go to your people? Yvonne! Yvonne!
Good morning. Remember me?
Yeah.
I'm Dr. Byrne. Mr. Brady asked me to come and talk to you.
Yeah.
I understand now why you didn't feel free to talk about your job.
What do you want, Doctor?
I want to help you.
Nobody's going to listen to me. They may listen to you. We are about to be removed from the earth. Human beings.
By whom?
I'm not sure, but let us say by the elementary forces of the earth itself.
Why?
Because we are alien. We are alien to the rest of all the living creatures in this world.
How?
All right, look, there's a life cycle, a chain. We were not part of it.
Yes, we are.
No. You see, we are on Earth, but we are no longer of it. We destroy other living things. They disappear. Whole species disappear. The chain is broken, and we destroy other things. We are alien. And so we are to be destroyed in our turn.
You believe this?
Yes. This happened before. There was the Ice Age, glaciers, great floods, upheavals. Why? The Earth had to rid itself of something foreign, something destructive. And now it's our turn.
And how do you know all this?
The Earth told me.
How?
I'm psychic. And so is Ivan. I could ask him to come here.
Why?
He'll back me up. If he comes, you won't give him away, will you?
No, I promise.
I'll send for him.
How?
I'm sending for him now. Right now, my mind can talk to his. Ivan Ivanovich Plotnik.
Is that his name?
He's answering me. He can come, Dr. Byrne. You promised me I could trust you.
You can.
Ivan, come to us. Come to us immediately.
Well, where is he?
He'll be here. It's a long trip.
From where?
He's been hiding out near the docks. Everybody's after him now. Our people want to arrest him. His own people.
Yeah, John, you must face certain facts.
Yeah. I see where this is going to lead.
I spoke with your wife. You have had disappointments in your life. You wanted to be a writer.
That was a long time ago.
You never forgot it. And that's why you're writing quite a story now.
I don't think we have anything more to talk about.
She told me about your little boy.
She had no right to tell you about that.
It wasn't your fault.
I was driving the car.
An accident can happen to anyone.
It happened to me.
All these things build inside, and one day a man explodes.
That has nothing to do with it. Look, our whole human race is in danger of being wiped out. Ivan will tell you the same thing.
Well, where is he?
He's here.
Where?
Don't you hear him? Just outside the door. Wait. Ivan.
Hello, John.
Come in, finally. Tell the doctor what we discovered.
Who are you talking to?
What do you mean, who am I talking to? Ivan.
Where is he?
Well, he's here, right in front of you. Tell him you're standing right in front of him.
I'm standing in front of you, Doctor.
Yeah, you see?
There's no one here but you and me.
Ivan, tell him about the aliens.
What we found out, John and I, is that we are the aliens. That we are to be expelled from the earth.
There. What do you think of what he said, huh?
I didn't hear anyone say anything.
Stop that! Don't make me think I'm crazy. Don't try to make me believe Ivan doesn't exist.
No, on the contrary, John. Ivan does exist.
Then why do you pretend you don't see him?
Who do you think Ivan is, John?
He is
you. You are John Carpenter, Jr. Ivan is John. Ivan Ivanovich means John, the son of John, which is John Jr. Plotnik is their word for carpenter. John Carpenter Jr. is Ivan Ivanovich Plotnik.
You don't know what you're talking about.
You created him.
No. He approached me. He was in trouble.
You would like to think that there's someone like you on the other side who is in trouble, too.
We have to cooperate. Both sides, all sides will be gone. Ivan.
Yes, John.
Help me.
John, there's no one here.
Help me, Ivan. We will make everyone listen to us. Help me get out of here.
Wait, John. You can't leave.
Help me. Ivan.
God, hurry.
John, please, darling. Try to cooperate with the doctors. They want to help you.
Yes, Louise.
We can still have a long and a happy life together.
Of course, Louise.
I'll come again tomorrow.
Yes, dear. Goodbye.
Bye.
Maybe I should pretend to whatever it is they want. But I can't forgive them for killing Ivan when he tried to help me escape. They say Ivan isn't dead, but they try to humor people like me. I know he's dead. He doesn't come when I call him. And I no longer can communicate with the forces of the earth either. Doesn't matter. I know what happened. When Ivan died, I lost my psychic ability. But I know that we are the aliens. And I know that sooner or later, each living human being will be removed from this earth.
And he sits there in the sanitarium, and he makes the dire prediction you have just heard. And of course, nobody believes him. But just suppose, it's true. Wilder things, weirder things have happened. In every prophet, isn't there a touch of madness? Therefore, the sanest thing you can do is wait for me to return in just a few moments. What lives? Only flesh, blood, root, stem, leaf, trunk. We should go further and ask, what is life? Can't we say that one aspect of life is personality? Don't machines have personalities, too? Don't they also at times seem contrary, out of sorts? And at others, don't they purr like satisfied kittens? The earth, the sea, the sky, don't they also seem to have their moods? As the philosopher says, there is only a single life force, and each thing in the world is a way of expressing it. Our cast included Paul Hecht, Mandel Kramer, Robert Dryden, and Marie Cheatham. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
During its long and distinguished career on the air, suspense has never taken an editorial stand until now. Now we state unequivocally that this program is against murder. Oh, we play around with the more titillating and entertaining aspects of murder from time to time, but fundamentally, we're against it as a personal, national, or international policy. Only those in favor of murder will find anything objectionable or controversial in the next half hour. The story you're about to hear is but a tiny word of protest. Perhaps it is too little. But please God, let it not be too late. Listen then, as Everett Sloane stars in The Voice of Company A, which begins in just a moment.
And now, The Voice of Company A, starring Everett Sloane. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I sat in my lab at Cape Canaveral near the giant missile that would launch our transmitter. I looked at the powerful sending set, knowing that soon we'd toss it into space to scream crazily year after year at a crazy world. We tried to keep the lab quiet, isolated, but in the last few days, the tension of the mess outside had somehow trickled in. I was bushed.
Doctor?
Yes, Colonel?
I think it's coming. Here, read this. Top priority from Defense to me.
From the Secretary of Defense to Commander Operation Screamer. International situation deteriorating. Commence countdown 0500 Zulu. Midnight our time?
That's right. Is your section ready?
Yes, we're ready. Here's the little monster. I just loaded the tape. You want to hear it?
Yes. Oh, brother.
Yes, when we get all 6 of these in orbit, you might as well throw away your radio and TV. This is all you'll hear. But this is what we wanted.
Turn it off.
Okay.
Well, I guess we can do without the soap operas if it jams their military frequencies.
The soap operas will lose their audience anyway when the ballistic missiles hit. You know, this thing will probably survive us, Colonel. You ever think of that? Screaming away up there when there's nobody left to hear it? Kind of funny in a way.
George, you're tired.
Were you in London, Colonel, in World War II?
No. Burma. Why?
I was in London when the V-2s first hit. 2nd Louis, Company A, 16th Infantry. I was on a 72-hour pass with some of my guys. We thought the V-2s were the last word, Colonel. A regular bomb you could hear coming. You had somebody to be sore at that last few seconds. Some pilot risked his tail to drop it anyway. Somebody up there hated you. At least you knew that. It wasn't humane, but at least it was human. But a V-2, Colonel, it goes so fast you don't hear it. And there's nobody to hate except some guy sitting at a control panel a couple 100 miles away. And now we've got ICBMs. 5,000 miles through space. Oh, yes. We've come a long way. A long way.
Yes. Well, I'll report that we're ready.
The colonel looked at me strangely as he left. I knew he thought I was cracking. And maybe he was right. Almost hating to do it, I flicked on the radio, knowing what I'd hear.
fall into the colors in France today. Germany has mobilized the reserve components of the new Wehrmacht. Ambassador Lippincott arrived this afternoon at Washington National Airport and said that he saw no hope of averting war. ICBM.
I turned it off. Once I thought it could never happen again. Lying in the broken plaster and spilled beer in a London pub with the sergeant's body pinning me down and Pinky yelling for his mother and Botchner groaning in a corner, I knew it couldn't. But it was happening again, and there seemed to be nothing I or anybody else could do to stop it. I turned to the transmitter to unplug it from the test console. That's when I saw him looking at the set. Hey, how did you get... Who are you?
Hello, Lieutenant. Or it's Doctor now, ain't it?
Botchner. Is it Botchner?
Yeah, Lieutenant. It's me, Sad Sack Botchner.
But you were killed. You got killed in that pub.
Well, in a manner of speaking.
No, I must be cracking up.
No, Lieutenant. Relax. I got a message for you is all. Me and Pinky and the Sarge and Pete, we drew cards to see who'd come back. I won.
But I don't...
So you're gonna toss this thing into space.
Yes.
And it's got like a tape that plays over and over, fouls up the radios all over the world?
Yes, except our military frequencies.
Now, ain't that clever? Me and Pinky and the Sarge and Pete, we get creamed in that crummy pub in London, and you come out smelling like a rose. And for what? So you can figure out something like this?
Now, look, Botchner, it wasn't only me, the Defense Department,
Yeah, I know. I've been down that road, Lieutenant. Well, me and Pinky and the Sarge and Pete figure you ought to put something better than what you got on that tape before it's too late.
Something better? Like what?
Well, I'll tell you, Lieutenant. Pinky thought it up. Remember, he was always kind of screwy on religion.
So he told me, standing gray-faced and sloppy as ever in my lab. I knew I was dreaming. I had to be. He told me what to put on the tape. And I laughed. What is this, a joke?
We don't do much joking, Lieutenant. Mostly we sit around thinking. 10 million guys in different uniforms, thinking of the dames we didn't get to meet, and the summer evenings we didn't get to smell, and the kids we never got to have. Well, you better do what we say, Lieutenant. Because tough as it is at times, it's better here than it is there. We know, Lieutenant. We know.
In a moment, we continue with the second act of Suspense. And now, starring Everett Sloane, Act 2 of The Voice of Company A.
I sat for a long time wondering if I'd really seen Botchner. Wondering if I was losing my mind. And this idea of Pinky's, or whoever it was, it was crazy. But I knew suddenly that I had to try it. I had to try it, but I had to move fast. Once the installation crew arrived to pick up the jammer, it'd be too late. There were almost 100 technicians working in my section. Like any group of Americans, they came from every background. Some, like von Terhoff, were newly naturalized citizens. I buzzed my secretary on the intercom.
Yes, Doctor.
Get von Terhoff up here right away, Carolyn. And, Pierre Duval, he speaks French, doesn't he?
Yes.
And that new technician, Barbara Chang, does she speak Chinese?
Yes, I think so. Why?
Send her up. Who speaks Russian?
I don't know.
Poznansky. A lot of Poles know Russian. Send him in, too. And, Carolyn.
Yes, Doctor.
I want to see them one at a time. It was easy with Duval and Poznansky. They accepted my story without a question. But Van Terhoff looked at me strangely.
I did not know you were a religious man here, Doctor. You say that this is for your minister?
Yes, it's just an idea he had for next Sunday's sermon, Von. If you'll just speak into the mic.
Well, it seems to me a strange time to...
Well, it'll only take a minute.
All right. You ready?
Ready.
Du sollst dich töten.
The pretty Chinese microwave expert was so enthusiastic, I hated myself when I lied to her. I hadn't been to church since World War II.
He couldn't matter to his congregation, Doctor, but a native Chinese wouldn't understand the religious significance.
Well, why not?
Well, Confucius put it another way.
Well, recite that then.
Wunhui jogi sigogin yeloi wayi go dagani dasi guaga gini.
When she left, I held the mic in my hand for a long while. Finally, feeling strangely humble, I recorded the English version myself. When I was through, I spliced the tape into a loop like the jamming tape so that it would repeat over and over. Over and over, year after year. I took the jamming tape out of the transmitter and started to put in my new one. Was I crazy? Then I remembered the twisted bodies in the London pub, and Pinky and the Sergeant Pete, and of course, Sad Sack Botchner. They seemed suddenly very close. I finished. The installation crew arrived and took the transmitter away, and soon it was midnight and the countdown began. My launching station was in the blockhouse, but if I got there too soon, I'd have to ground test the screamer and the colonel would learn what was on the tape. And if I didn't get there at all, they might not launch. So I waited and waited, watching through the lab window while the last man left the missile gleaming in the Florida moonlight. It was the longest half hour in my life.
T-minus 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
They were looking for me now. It was time to go. Running across the sand, I looked up at the missile. There, high in the nose, rode the sphere that carried the jammer.
T-minus 2 minutes. Condition red.
Had I cut it too close? As I reached the concrete blockhouse, the missile seemed to be straining at an invisible leash. Vapor from its liquid oxygen was curling about its base.
T-minus 1 minute.
Hey!
59.
Hey, let me in! It's Dr. Green!
56.
I looked again at the huge rocket. I could hear the pumps beginning to deliver fuel to the nozzle. In less than a minute, 250,000 pounds of fiery thrust would blast the area, and I'd shrivel like an ant on a hot coal. Hey! Hey!
41.
Dr. Griggs, holy cow, now get in here.
38.
Where's the colonel? Right here. Where have you been? This thing hasn't been ground tested.
Well, it isn't necessary. It'll transmit.
Countdown procedure says do it. We'll do it. Now move, Doctor.
But I checked it on the console. I tell you, it'll transmit.
I want to hear that signal.
It'll work, I tell you.
Oh, help me, Doctor. If you don't get going, I'll stop the launch. Now tune it in.
19.
I had to do it. As slowly as I could, I twisted the knobs on the test receiver.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8,
What's that? What's going on? The colonel lunged for the panic button that would stop the launch. I grabbed his arm.
Let me go. Hold it. Hold that bird. Corporal, put this man under arrest. He's crazy. Or he's an enemy spy.
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill.
Who is the enemy, Colonel? Who is the enemy?
In a moment, we continue with the third act of Suspense. And now, starring Everett Sloane, Act 3 of The Voice of Company A.
They treated me all right in the detention cell at Cape Canaveral. They gave me a radio, the morning papers, all the coffee I could drink. They sent for a psychiatrist to see if I was crazy. 2 men from the FBI questioned me to see if I was a spy. Then I was alone until the guard brought in breakfast.
Hey, Doc, what's going on?
You tell me.
Well, My wife and I, we sit down to eat this morning. We turn on the radio to find out if we ought to be digging a hole somewhere. And this voice comes on saying, "Thou shalt not kill." And in all foreign languages. Now, my wife, she thinks it's the end of the world. Well, she may be right. What are they going to do to you? Try me for espionage, they tell me. If they don't figure I'm nuts. Doc? Yes? We don't figure you're nuts. When the guard left, I turned on the radio to hear the worst. And it was the worst.
And launched a formal protest against what they call U.S. celestial propaganda. From Washington, no word yet on what is intended by the strange Screamer satellite, only instructions. Instructions on what to do if its passage jams tunnel rat frequencies during a ballistic missile bombardment.
Suddenly, I heard it faintly, blanking out the announcer. I looked at my watch. Yes, that was it. It was due overhead.
Tu ne tueras point. Thou shalt not kill.
I switched off the set. I hadn't fully realized the power of our transmitter until that moment. And I hadn't realized the power of the message. A shiver raced up my spine. I felt suddenly that I was not alone. Then I saw him, slouching at the window. Bochner?
Hello, Lieutenant. In the guardhouse, huh? Remember when you tossed me in the stockade for being AWOL?
Well, this ought to square it.
Pinky and the Sarge and Pete and me, we've been watching things. It's working out great.
Oh, yeah, just fine.
There's an awful lot of people don't want to fight this war, Lieutenant. You ought to see 'em in Europe and China.
Yeah?
Don't you fret, Lieutenant. Things is going to turn out all right. You see, Lieutenant, we know.
Slowly, he disappeared. Slowly fading. It was weird. I knew that he only existed in my mind, but as the day wore on, and the next day, and the next, I wondered if he weren't right. Every 4 hours, the satellite broke in with that simple message. But in the interval, the radio began to talk of reports of a mutiny in the Hungarian army, a revolution against the Czech regime, small religious revivals starting in Germany.
The Department is mum about what was actually intended in the satellite launch Monday. Results are clear. Iron Curtain countries are busy battling anti-war sentiment. International tension has eased. Ambassador Lippincott flew an hour ago to a hastily planned conference in Geneva. More news after the 9 p.m. passage of the satellite.
And the fourth night, the cell door opened for the colonel.
Hello, George.
Hello, Colonel. Did you bring the firing squad?
George, I got a dispatch from Defense.
Yes?
You're to be released.
Released?
That's right. And we're not launching the rest of the Screamers. They decided that the crisis is past. Now that the thing's in perfect orbit, they want us to stop them.
But we can't.
I know, George. It's solar powered. It could broadcast for the next 20 years. 50.
Yes. And when it quits, Colonel, maybe we better launch another one.
Hmm? Oh, yes. I see what you mean. George.
Yes?
One question. We know about Duval and the Chang girl and Poznansky. Who recorded the English? Is that your voice?
I thought of the smashed bodies of my men in that London pub. Pinky and the Sarge and Pete and Sad Sack Bochner. My voice, Colonel? No. Let's just say that's the voice of Company A.
Du sollst nicht töten. Du sollst nicht töten.
Wili jogi sigogin yenoi. Wai go dagami dasi guagagini.
Nie ubij. Nie ubij. Tu ne tueras point. Tu ne tueras point. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill.
Suspense, in which Everett Sloane starred in William N. Robeson's production of The Voice of Company A by Michael Frost. In just a moment, the names of the supporting players and a word about next week's story of suspense. Supporting Everett Sloan in The Voice of Company A were Lillian Bayef, John Daner, Barney Phillips, Jack Crucian, and Sam Pierce. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with The Diary of Sophronia Winters, starring Mercedes McCambridge. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Complete news first on the CBS Radio Network.
Adventures in Time and Space, transcribed in future tense. Dimension X. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, bring you Dimension X.
Nobody knows exactly when the nightmare began. They must have planned it for years, though, because looking back, you can find little incidents here and there. Like the concrete mixer in New Jersey that killed the bricklayer, and the time Senator Milburn was sucked into the rotopress at the Capitol Office Building. Unrelated accidents, we thought at the time. But they add up now. The day we really should have suspected was when the men walked off the construction job at the new Brookmeadow atomic pile on Long Island. I'll never forget that day. I was working as a statistical clerk in the project then, operating one of those miracle computing machines developed to fill the requirements of Army ordnance. They called it ENIAC.
Mr. Gurney?
Huh? Oh, yes, Bella?
The chief wants to see you in his office.
Me?
Unless you're no longer Samson Gurney, he wants to see you.
Oh, well, of course. What do you suppose?
I do not read minds, tea leaves, or crystal balls.
Of course. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked.
Don't apologize.
I'm sorry.
And don't wait for me. Mr. Hawk is in a hurry.
Yes, I'll go in right away, of course. Her name was Bella Roscoe. She was Mr. Hawk's secretary. I had always thought her a very attractive woman, but for some reason, she didn't seem to like me. Of course, on a clerk's salary, I couldn't exactly afford to take ladies to the best places. But I've often thought that if there weren't such a disparity in our ages, I might have... But then...
Come in.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Hawk?
Gurney, I thought those electronic computations were infallible.
They are, sir.
Well, we got a kickback from the chief physicist. These nuclear equations are inaccurate.
No, they aren't, sir.
I'm telling you what the memo says.
Well, sir, occasionally, if there's an overload, the machine goes haywire. Sort of has a nervous breakdown, you might say. We usually rest it up for 24 hours, and it's okay again.
Well, do whatever has to be done.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and Gurney.
Yes, sir.
You've been with the Bureau for over 15 years now. It would be a shame to have to remove you because you aren't keeping your mind on your work.
Oh, Mr. Hawk, I hardly think anyone...
Excuse me. Hawk speaking. What? Dave, what? All of them? Well, have you tried to talk to them? Yes, of course. I'll send one of the safety engineers over. This place is falling apart piece by piece. Miss Roscoe?
Yes, sir.
The men on the construction gang at the new building have walked out on us.
What?
Someone slipped this morning and fell into a turbine.
No.
Get the chief safety engineer. Have him over there right away.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and contact the personnel office. Have them ask the union to order the men back to work. Get back to me.
Yes, sir.
Mr.
Hawk.
Sorry, Gurney, I have no time to discuss anything further. Get on the job and stay awake, or we'll have to make some changes.
But, Mr. Hawk,
That's all,
I assure
Gurney.
you...
That's all.
Now, you've probably gathered by this time that I wasn't a very important man at Brook Meadow. I hated Mr. Hawk with a passion because of his superior attitude, and because I knew that Miss Roscoe admired him as a man of strength and decision. I was secretly happy he was having trouble with his construction crews. That evening, I wandered over to the site of the new atomic pile to see where the man had fallen into the turbine. They had the construction area fenced off with barbed wire, and a security guard stopped me.
Hold it, buddy. You can't go in there. That's a restricted area.
I'm Samson Gurney from the statistical section. Here's my identification.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gurney. Nobody's allowed in the area.
I see.
We had a lot of the employees come over tonight to take a look, but nobody gets in. Orders.
Tell me, was he, killed instantly?
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This guy was checking the magnetic field inside the turbine, see? Right down inside it. It's all over.
But if it wasn't hooked up...
Look, Mr. Gurney, they got smarter guys than me trying to figure these things out. Yesterday it was a concrete mold. Wham! 2 guys get sucked right into the mixer.
My.
3 days ago, a bulldozer starts up by itself and runs wild. 1 killed. 2 almost. Go figure it out.
You know what I think? Sabotage.
We got more guards and FBI men in here than we got workers. Flea couldn't get through without proving he didn't come off a Russian wolfhound.
Now, I'm a statistician. All my life, I've been interested in statistics. So, a simple-sounding thing like this started me off. I went back to the office that evening instead of going home, and for the next 2.5 hours, I computed figures on the probability of industrial accidents for the types of machines we were using. I took one look at my figures and went down to Hawk's office. Just as I figured, he was staying late working on a settlement with the construction workers.
Yes?
Oh, good evening. I saw the light.
Well, Mr. Gurney, what are you doing here?
Is Mr. Hawk working late?
Yes, I am, too.
Oh. I wonder if I could see him a moment.
We're busy right now. Could you make it tomorrow?
It's very urgent. I'll wait, if you don't mind.
Suit yourself.
Miss Roscoe, I wonder if perhaps you would consider having dinner with me this evening after you're through.
I have a date, Mr. Gurney.
I was thinking we might go to Raymond's. They have very good spaghetti.
Mr. Hawk has already asked me to have dinner with him at the Golden Shish Kebab.
Well, of course, that's out of my class.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Hawk.
Yes,
Mr.
Bella?
Gurney would like to see you a moment. He says it's very urgent.
Urgent? All right, I'll give him a minute.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Roscoe. Mr. Hawk, in the past 3 months, industrial accidents all over the country have taken a sharp, unexplained upswing.
Why don't you stop playing FBI man and stick to your job, which, incidentally, you haven't been doing too well. You and our computing machines have made mistakes before. Now, this is probably another. I'll have Miss Ross come so... What's the matter with this blasted buzzer? Miss Roscoe! Miss Roscoe!
Yes, sir.
Stop this blasted buzzer. Get a repairman, a mechanic, anything, but stop the thing. And you, Gurney, get out!
I went back to my office to get my hat and coat, feeling about as unhappy and humiliated as a man can feel. He had thrown me out in front of her. The office was dark and deserted. The whole building seemed oppressive and unnatural. I walked across to my desk. In front of me, the ENIAC glowed and chattered eerily as it worked on the equations we had fed it that morning. Its many-fingered circuits hung against the wall like some great octopus. And the thousands of tubes glowed orange and blue in the dark like 1,000 eyes staring at me. It almost seemed alive. Then it increased its tempo a moment, and a fleeting notion crossed my brain that it was laughing at me. Laughing like all the others. What was the matter with me? What? I shut my desk drawer and began to put the cover on my ENIAC typewriter when an amazing thing happened. The most amazing single incident of my life. Alone, in the darkness, with no one at the keyboard, the ENIAC typewriter began to type. Am I going crazy? This can't be. There's nobody here. There's nobody here. Oh, no. I'm just imagining it. It's in my mind. But I hadn't imagined it. The paper was there in the carriage. Did I dare read it? Or would the whole thing suddenly vanish and send me shrieking to the nearest psychiatrist? Sampson Gurney, there are some equations better left unsolved. The answer to yours is death. It was not until I turned to go that I was suddenly aware of the utter and complete silence of the room. Then it dawned on me. The ENIAC had stopped working.
Gurney, do you expect me to believe this? It's insane.
Mr. Hawk, I'm as safe...
Take it easy, Gurney. Now, this is just some practical joke someone in the office is playing.
There was no one in the office.
Of course not. They wired up the machine and left.
I checked the machine myself, Mr. Hawk.
All right, Gurney. You leave this note with me, and I'll turn it over to the security force for further investigation.
But...
No buts, Gurney. The security men will handle it.
Yes, sir.
Well, maybe you've been working too hard lately. You've got to relax more. Now, here, let me light that cigarette for you.
I watched him trying to make the lighter work.
I don't understand this. I just put fluid in it. There's a brand new flame.
It seemed ridiculous. A little piece of mechanism like a cigarette lighter frustrating the big, important executive.
Oh, blast this lighter. Here's a match.
It was such a small thing. And yet, as I watched him, a thought began to take shape in my mind. Nebulous at first, incredible perhaps, but it grew.
You just relax for a few days. Everything will turn out all right. Well, the main thing is not to let little things upset you.
It was the cigarette lighter that gave me the idea, and what Hawk had said about little things. For the next week, I observed the 1,000 petty little annoyances around the office. The door handle that wouldn't turn, the telephone connection that cut off in the middle of an important call, the power failure for no explainable reason. Suddenly, these things began to fall into a pattern. I, Sampson Gurney, knew that I had stumbled onto a secret so monstrous in its implications that I was almost afraid to pursue it. On October 12, 1956, I established communication with them. I will curse the moment to my dying breath. Who's there?
Night security guard.
Oh, hello, Henry.
Oh, hello, Mr. Gurney. What are you doing here so late?
I'm just doing a little repair work on my ENIAC computator.
Huh. Sure some mess of wires and tubes.
Yes, it is.
Well, I gotta finish my rounds. Won't forget to turn out the light, will you, Mr. Gurney?
No, Henry, no, I won't forget.
Night.
Yeah, good night. When you were a child, did you ever try to imagine that you were all-powerful? I felt like that when I finished hooking the input of the typewriter to the main vacuum tube of the ENIAC. Then I turned on the current that sent 1,000,000 volts of pulsing energy into the electronic nerves of the machine. I am certain that if anybody were watching me in the next moment, he would have thought me a raving maniac. I still wonder if perhaps it is not all a nightmare. Now, you! If what I have guessed at is true, if there's life and intelligence in this room, make a sign! There was nothing. Nothing but the hum of the machine and the dull glowing of the tubes. Then, suddenly, without provocation or explanation, it happened. The ENIAC typewriter began to respond to the impulses from the machine. The letters were Y, E, S. Yes. It had happened. I, Samson Gurney, had communicated with a machine. I was about to try to communicate again when suddenly, on ball-bearing casters, a heavy metal filing cabinet began to roll away from the wall toward me. I started to move to one side when another cabinet slid out from the wall, and then another, surrounding me. That was when I realized that they cooperate. We taught them that, you see, on the assembly lines and in the factories. There was no way out. How could a mere man reason with dumb machines? Still, they needed us. They needed us to oil them and repair them and build them. They hadn't gotten to the point yet where they could exist without man. I had to make them understand that before they killed me. Listen to me. You must listen. What good will it do you if you kill me? I'm only one man, but I can help you. I can be useful to you. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Good. You're going to need men to oil you and repair you. I'll do anything. I'll do absolutely anything you want, but in the name of God, don't kill me. If you can understand this, answer me. Answer me. The appeal captured the longing of centuries. Man as slave to the machine. And after a moment, the circuits glowed more brightly. The cabinet slid back to the walls. As I tore the tape from the machine and read it, the words were almost pathetic in their longing, but most ominous in their implication. They read, "Address me as master." My life for the next 6 months was a nightmare. The ENIAC gave me messages which I had to transmit into my telephone. I was frantic. I began to lose weight. I couldn't sleep. My nights were torture, a constant fear. It was in December, just after Christmas. I was sitting in my room, listening to a broadcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, a special bulletin. Already 24 hours before the peak of the New Year's traffic, over 1,000 deaths have been reported. This is an unprecedented figure. Again, if you...
That very afternoon, I had transmitted a message to the telephones for relay to all machines of transportation. The message was one word: kill. Next morning, I avoided my office. Instead, I went directly to the office of Mr. Hawk. I was highly agitated. My lips trembled as I spoke.
Well, Gurney?
Mr. Hawk? What I'm going to tell you sounds crazy. I know it does, but I must say it.
All right, say it then, for heaven's sake.
Mr. Hawk, have you ever heard of resistentialism?
Resist what?
Resistentialism.
You're not making sense, Gurney.
Mr. Hawk, I'm trying to tell you. All these accidents, the trouble with the machines, Mr. Hawk, they're alive. They think, they cooperate, and they hate us.
Who?
The machines.
Gurney.
You've got to believe me. I've communicated with them. I know. What are you doing?
Now, just relax, Gurney. Everything will be all right.
What are you doing?
Miss Roscoe, send for the plant physician at once. Mr. Gurney has had a nervous collapse.
But, Mr. Hawk...
Everything will be all right, Gurney. We'll give you a nice, long rest.
You fool. You blind, stupid fool! Can't you see what you're doing? Fool, fool, fool! When the plant physician arrived a few moments later, Lucius Hawk was found at his desk, strangled to death in a nest of telephones. The wires were still humming softly.
Samson Gurney, you stand accused of the crime of murder. How do you plead?
I did not kill him. I didn't.
So record. Prosecution will proceed with testimony.
Now, Miss Roscoe, did the accused quarrel with your employer on the morning of the murder?
Oh, yes. He and Mr. Hawk quarreled violently. I could hear Mr. Gurney screaming at him. And Mr. Hawk asked me to send for the plant physician.
What were his words?
He said, Mr. Gurney has had a nervous collapse.
Now, Mr. Simpson, you are a guard at the Brook Meadow Project?
Yes, sir.
When did you have occasion to meet the accused?
Right after those accidents. He was snooping around the construction area.
Samson Gurney, court hereby finds you guilty of murder in the first degree. Recommendation that you be examined, committed to the state hospital for the criminally insane at Matawan.
And that's how I came to be here at the hospital, Dr. Klein. That's the whole story.
Thank you, Mr. Gurney.
You can see that I'm not insane. You must believe me, Doctor.
Of course I believe you, Mr. Gurney. Now tell me about this revolt.
It will begin in Washington, then spread to New York.
Yes?
The Madison Avenue buses lead the charge. Picture it, Dr. Klein, 3,000 buses roaring rampant through the streets, people running like rats in a maze looking for manholes in the pavement.
And you really believe this will happen, Mr.
I
Gurney?
know it, Doctor. The worst part of it is there's no way to stop them now. It's too late.
Now, you mustn't excite yourself,
But,
Mr.
Doctor,
Gurney.
don't you see? It's fair enough, I suppose. We built them. We taught them to think for themselves. It was bound to come. I guess the female machines will be worst of all in the beauty parlors. They're more high-strung, you know.
Well, since there's nothing we can do about it, Mr. Gurney, suppose you go to your room and
Maybe
try...
if I went to my old Plymouth, I could make a deal before the police cars got me.
Yes, Doctor?
Would you take Mr. Gurney to his room, guard? He's already been given sedation.
Yes, sir.
Those concrete mixers may have made a mistake, you know. Just high spirits and all that, but if they got so they liked the flavor...
We'll see
well,
you later, Mr. Gurney. Now, try not to worry too much. All right, guard.
This way, sir.
Oh, machines revolting. Telephones strangling people. Oh, blasted cigarette lighter. Why won't it work? I just filled it. Flint is good. Oh, well, you can never trust this newfangled machinery.
Next week, Dimension X will present a story of the future. A story of an insignificant pebble in the sky called Earth, and of a man from a distant star who grew to love this unimportant planet.
Dimension X is transcribed each week by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of the magazine Astounding Science Fiction.
Nightmare was written by George Lefferts and based on a poem, The Revolt of the Machines by Stephen Vincent Benet. Featured players in the cast were John Gibson as Mr. Gurney and Rita Lynn as Bella Roscoe. Norman Rose is your host. Music by Albert Behrman. Engineer Bill Chambers. Dimension X is produced by William Welch and directed by Edward King.
Stand by for Space Cadet in 30 seconds. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
Yes, Kellogg's brings you the secret of a more delicious breakfast treat. It's new, it's wonderful. It's Kellogg's Raisin Bran, both fruit and cereal, all in one box. You get plump, tender raisins dipped in honeycomb, along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. So try the new fruit and cereal combination. Get Kellogg's Raisin Bran because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And now, Kellogg's Corn Flakes, the cereal that helps you have more punch till lunch, invites you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Stand by to raise shift. Blast off minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
It is close to midnight when a lone figure in the trim uniform of a space cadet enters a dimly lit street shelter to wait for an air cab. The place is deserted, and as the young man settles himself on one of the benches, he looks at his watch anxiously. After a few moments, a small ferret-faced man sidles in from the street and eyes the cadet furtively.
Oh, do you have a light, mate?
Huh? Oh, no, I'm sorry, I haven't.
Hey, you're from Space Academy, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Cadet Tom Corbett.
Yeah, I thought I recognized the uniform, but I always heard they were pretty strict about letting cadets out on the town.
So I'm on a weekend leave.
Tell me something. You cadet fellas ever get out into space much?
Oh, sure. We go on cruises all the time.
You know, I'm a spaceman myself.
You are?
Uh-huh. Deep spacer. And all the way to Sirius. Ever been that far, Corbett?
No, not yet.
Why don't you go in for a commercial flight in merchant ships? Pays good, and they need experienced hands. Need 'em bad.
I guess they do, but I want to stay at the academy.
In the old days, if they needed a space hand for a voyage and they couldn't hire one, well, they just grab one.
You mean some of the ships actually shanghaied crew members?
Now and then, if a fella happened to have special qualifications like you have, mate.
Hey, what's up? Stop!
Well, mate, I hope they don't wait up for you at Space Academy, because you're going to be missing a long, long time.
Take it easy, lad. Take it easy.
Hey, where am I? And who are you?
I'm Jim Harris. You're aboard the Constellation.
The Constellation? Look, I don't know exactly what happened or how I got here, but I've got to get back to the academy by midnight. Tonight, Sunday.
Sunday?
Oh, what's so funny?
Well, this is already Monday. It's 0700 Earth time.
07. But my leave, I've got to... Say, what happened to my uniform?
What uniform?
My academy uniform. Don't you understand I'm a space cadet?
Space cadet? Hey, you must have had a worse bump than I thought you had.
Stop stalling. I'm Tom Corbett of Space Academy. Now I want to know who took my uniform and put me in these dungarees, and how did I get here?
Well, if I were you, son, I'd just relax and have a bite of breakfast. You've got work to do.
What are you talking about?
You're a member of this ship's crew. We blasted off last night and we're headed for deep space.
Great jumping Jupiter. I've been Shanghai.
That's right. And you might as well make up your mind to one thing. You ain't gonna see Space Academy for a long, long time.
There's action ahead for Tom Corbett, all right. You know, fellas and girls, an exciting adventure is apt to pop any minute around Space Academy. That's why a space cadet keeps himself supplied with quick energy food. So for morning chow at Space Academy, you can bet there's a box of Kellogg's cornflakes on every table.
That's right, all you future space cadets, boys and girls. Morning chow always means Kellogg's cornflakes time to us. And how we go for 'em here at Space Academy. The trick is to get to the table before that box is empty. And you don't want to lose any time getting at those Kellogg's cornflakes. Let me tell you, they help you make a quick blast-off because Kellogg's cornflakes are quick energy food.
You heard what Astro had to say, so tomorrow morning and any morning, pour yourself a big bowl full of those golden sweet, crisp, and tender flakes. You'll be helping yourself to more punch till lunch. More punch till lunch. More punch till lunch with Kellogg's cornflakes.
As the rocket ship Constellation hurtles through the cold blackness of space away from Earth, Tom Corbett regains consciousness to find himself clad in space dungarees instead of his cadet uniform, and learns from Harris, a crew member, that he has been shanghaied and that he is now bound for deep space. Now Tom angrily paces the deck of the crew's quarters.
Listen, Harris, who is the captain of this ship?
A fellow by the name of Pickering. You ever hear of him?
No.
You will.
By the rings of Saturn, he'll hear from me. I'm going to demand that this ship be put back to Earth and this man Dawson arrested.
Hey, now look, son, I feel sorry for you, and that's a fact. But you're in this now, and you won't find any way to get out.
What I will see.
Hey, listen. If there was a way out, don't you think I'd take it myself?
You mean you were shanghaied, too?
Yeah, more or less. Hey, watch it. This must be Dawson.
All right, you space rats. Turn to.
You're the guy.
What?
You're the one who shanghaied me.
Huh? What's the matter with this kid, Harris? Acceleration getting him?
Listen, Dawson, you're going to turn this ship back to Earth. You have no right to take me out.
Damp your tubes. Who do you think you're talking to? What's your name, anyhow?
You know my name, Tom Corbett. I'm a space cadet.
Is that right? Well, glad to meet you. My name's Commander Arkwright.
Now listen, Dawson.
You listen, mister. Your information. The papers you signed read George Stevenson, and that name's good enough for me. Now turn to and be quick about it.
I didn't sign any papers. Take me to the captain.
The captain?
Yes, I want to talk to the captain.
Oh, you do?
I've got a right to talk to him.
Hey, look, son, better let it ride.
Let him finish, Harris. He'll talk himself right into the brig.
We'll let the captain decide about that.
Okay, if you're so set on it, I'll take you up to the control deck right now.
Now, that's more like it.
You can have your talk with Captain Pickering. Only don't say I didn't give you a fair warning.
Captain Pickering, Dawson committed a crime in bringing me aboard this ship. You've got to take me back.
Lad, I don't like space lawyers on my ship, and I don't like bellyachers either. Now stow the chatter and get below.
But I'm a space cadet. You've got to take me back.
This is insubordination, mister.
All I'm asking is that you let me contact Commander Arkwright at the Academy. He'll verify my story.
That's enough, Mr. Dawson. Take this man below and put him in the brig. Yes, sir. Come on, you.
No, I'm not leaving the bridge until you let me call the Academy. I'm not going to be
Maybe that'll show you who's running this ship. Now, Dawson, take him below and lock him up.
Commander Arkwright here.
Lieutenant Saunders reporting, sir.
Oh, yes, Saunders. Any word on Corbett yet?
No, sir, none.
12 hours over leave. Can't believe this of Corbett. He was always a most efficient cadet. But this is serious.
Yes, sir. Captain Strong has a request to make, sir.
What is it?
Cadets Astro and Manning, Corbett's roommates, are worried about his disappearance. They've asked permission to investigate.
What do they want to do?
They know their roommate's habits, sir. They're sure something happened to him, and they want to check on his activities. Captain Strong requests they be granted permission.
Very well. You may tell Strong they may be relieved of duty for the rest of the day.
Aye, aye, sir.
And you may also tell Captain Strong that when Corbett is found, he will be disciplined severely.
Who's there? Oh, it's me, matey. I brought you some lunch.
Oh, well, thanks, Harris.
You feeling all right, Tom?
Yes, no thanks to the captain, though. Listen, Harris, you said you'd give anything to get off this ship yourself.
Yeah, I would. But you can't buck Pickering and Dawson.
Well, maybe we can. I got a look at the navigation chart when I was on the control deck. On our present course, we crossed the orbit of Venus.
That's no secret. We put in at Venusport for fuel and supplies before blasting off to deep space.
That's our answer, then. We'll be there in a few hours.
Sure we'll be there. And you'll be here, locked in the brig the whole time.
Not if you'll help me.
Help you? How?
When we land at Venusport, watch your chance and slip open the bolts on that door. I'll get out and find the port commander.
Well, then what?
He'll arrest Pickering and Dawson, and the ship won't be given clearance to leave Venus.
Oh, I don't know. If they ever caught me...
As long as you have the run of the ship and keep quiet about it, we can't fail.
All right, Tom, I'll do it.
Good for you. Now take the tray back and act as though nothing has happened.
Yeah, right you are.
Just a minute, Harris.
Mr. Dawson.
Stay right where you are.
I was just going to take this tray back to the galley.
It can wait. You know, Harris, I didn't think you were so stupid.
Stupid, sir?
Didn't you think we'd have the brig rigged with a telecam?
Great galaxy, then you heard every word we said.
Yes, and saw you, too.
Oh, no.
So you were planning to jump ship, Mr. Harris.
No, he wasn't going to desert.
And he was going to help you, which is the same thing. So you two don't leave this brig until we've blasted off from Venus. After that, the captain will have plenty of time to figure out what kind of hooks to throw into you. And believe me, they'll be rough. Well, Saunders, any report on Corbett yet?
Only one from Captain Strong, sir. He's checked the passenger and crew manifests of every ship that has blasted off since Sunday. Corbett's not on any of them.
Anything else?
Yes, sir. Cadets manning at Astro request permission to continue their investigation on off-duty hours.
Very well. But I want Corbett's listing changed from overleave to AWOL. Notify all Earth Police to that effect at once. We've got to find him fast.
Give me a hand with this bunk, Harris.
What are you doing, Tom?
Trying to rip it away from the bulkhead. Come on.
Are you crazy? Dawson is probably watching every move we make.
Don't you think I know it? There. I'm getting it loose. Now, come on. Pull. Okay. There. And there's the telecam lens. I thought so.
Hey, what are you doing? Tom, you kicked it out.
Of course. Now he can't watch it.
You're out of your mind. That'll bring him running.
Maybe that's what I want him to do.
Those are the braking rockets. We're decelerating for the landing.
I know, which means we've got to work fast. Once we take off from Venus, we might as well be dead.
I'd like to know what you expect to do locked in this brig.
We're not going to be locked in here long.
Oh, somebody's at the hatch. It's Dawson, I guess.
All right, you two. Stay back against the bulkhead.
You didn't lose any time getting here, did you, Dawson?
What's the idea of kicking out the telecam lens?
To make you come in here. I want to talk to you.
Real smart kid, aren't you? Well, I'm here. Talk.
How about a deal, Dawson?
Deal? Huh? What kind of a deal can you make?
When you shanghaied me, you were under Captain Pickering's orders, weren't you?
So what?
Just this. The Solar Guard will catch up with Pickering sooner or later. And when they do, you'll be as guilty as he is.
What are you driving at?
If you'll get us off this ship at Venusport, I'll recommend leniency with the Solar Guard. You helped us, so you might even get off scot-free.
Don't hand me that.
The kid's talking sense, Dawson.
There's no risk for you, because even if the idea doesn't work, we won't give you away.
Well, how am I supposed to spring you loose?
All you have to do is leave this hatch unlocked when we land on Venus. We'll do the rest.
What's in this for me?
I just told you. It's your chance to get out from under the captain's thumb. You'll be a free man again, Dawson.
Ah, no. I won't stick my neck out unless you make it worth my while.
All right. Maybe this will change your mind.
Huh?
Your watch? It's not an ordinary watch. It's platinum. Worth a lot of money. If you help us, it's yours.
Give it here.
Hey, wait, Tom. Not until he promised.
I said hand it over.
All right. Here.
Not a bad watch at that. Thanks, mate.
Now hear this. Approaching Venusport. All hands to landing
stations, all hands to landing stations, on the double.
Hey, I gotta go topside.
Wait, Dawson. Will you help us?
I'll think it over.
What did I tell you, Tom? We've been on the ground for over 3 hours now.
How much longer before we blast off again, Harris?
15 minutes.
Well, there's still time. Dawson may come back.
Not him. He tricked you.
If I could only contact the port commander.
Well, shaking that hatch won't do you any good.
Jumping Jupiter. Harris, come here.
Yeah, what's the matter?
Look, this hatch isn't bolted.
Well, I'll be...
Dawson kept his word.
But I sure had that guy pegged wrong.
Now, which way is the auxiliary airlock?
Down the companionway and to the left.
Well, then come on. With any kind of break, we'll be off this ship in 2 minutes.
Go ahead, Tom. Nobody spotted us. They're all busy with the loading.
Easy, Harris. Stay behind the stabilizer until we're sure of our bearings.
This blasted Venus mist. You can't see a thing.
Just as well. Then no one can see us. The administration tower ought to be south of here. Come on.
Hey, you better cut over this way, Tom. There'll be guards at the landing tower.
Right.
All right, you two. All or I'll shoot.
It's Dawson.
Turn around, get your hands up.
He double-crossed us, the dirty space rat.
If you didn't have that gun, Dawson, I'd knock your ears off.
No, your deserters caught red-handed jumping ship. I've got every right to blast you, and I think I will.
Looks like somebody got some big ideas today. And fellas and girls, here's another big idea. Give Mom the surprise of her life. Get her the big, colorful 10-piece baking set Kellogg's Corn Flakes is offering. She'll thank you 1,000 times. You bet your boots, because this baking set is so handy, so useful, it actually makes baking fun. Listen to all you get. The most up-to-date mixing bowl, 4 measuring spoons, all held together so they won't get lost, 4 cookie cutters, and a special bowl scraper. Your eyes will pop when you see the bright, sparkling colors. Sunshine yellows, cherry reds, brilliant greens. They sure will dress up Mom's kitchen. And the mixing bowl is amazing. Made of the newest plastic, so lightweight and flexible, it's easier for Mom or you to handle. Also, absolutely unbreakable. You can even wash it in hottest water. And wait till you see those cookie cutters. Such keen, sharp edges, and such fun. You'll cut cookies to look like hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. Mom will thank you, too, for that bowl scraper. Great for beating, scraping, folding. Best of all, you get all 10 pieces of this baking set for less money than the bowl alone would cost. It's a great bargain, and a great way to surprise Mom. Just do this. Send 50 cents in the tops from any 2 boxes of Kellogg's Corn Flakes to Kellogg's, Box 926, Toronto, Ontario. That's the top from any 2 boxes of Kellogg's Corn Flakes, and 50 cents to Kellogg's, Box 926, Toronto. But hurry, these baking sets are going fast.
Escaping from the rocket ship Constellation, Tom Corbett and his friend Harris are betrayed by the first mate, Dawson, who captures them on the mist-shrouded plains of Venus. He is about to blast them with his ray gun when Captain Pickering, the skipper of the Constellation, suddenly appears out of the mist.
What's going on here, Mr. Dawson?
These men tried to jump ship, Captain. The pair we had in the brig, Stevenson and Harris.
Deserters, eh? On the Constellation, we shoot deserters.
That's against space law, Captain Pickering. You're supposed to turn over all captured deserters to the Solar Guard.
I told you once I don't like space lawyers. That still goes.
Let me blast them now, sir. Get rid of them once and for all.
No, Mr. Dawson, put them back aboard. I want them in irons and under double guard until we blast off.
Aye, aye, sir. Come on, you space rats. Get moving. On the double.
Wait a minute.
Move, I said.
Captain Pickering, don't you want to know how we got out of the brig?
What?
Tap your tubes and move.
Ask Dawson how we got out.
He took a bribe from us. He let us out. He what?
Don't listen to them, Skipper.
Then how did they get out?
Harris, stand by to move. Right.
Maybe they walked through the bulkhead, eh?
Skipper, I don't know how they did it.
You're responsible for them.
Get ready. You take out Dawson.
Okay. Come on, answer me.
They're lying, Skipper. Honest they are.
God, give me that. I'll break every bone in your body.
No, Skipper, let go of my arm.
Now, Harris. Are you, Harris? Are you all right? See when you get a second, Tom. Oh.
Brother, you really plowed him under.
I waited a long time for the chance, Tom. Someone's firing at us. Those are ray gun blasts.
We've been spotted by the crew.
Come on, run for it. We haven't a chance, Tom.
Yes, we have, and a good one. But this Venusian mist will cover us in a second.
Hurry, over this way. Wait a minute. You're heading away from the control tower.
I know. That's where they'll expect us to go.
So we'll circle around. Good idea. Hold it, Harris.
What's the matter?
I saw somebody just ahead there in the fog. Down, quick. Hug the ground. He's coming this way.
Shh. Keep low.
He didn't see us. Which way now, Tom?
To the left. Don't run, though.
We're still in range.
We'll give ourselves up to the first solar guard we can find.
Yeah. We can duck those men from the Constellation.
Any sign of them, Captain?
Watch it. There's Dawson.
No! Keep pressing, Dawson. Don't let them reach that control tower.
What do we do, Tom? We're cut off.
Don't lose your head. They don't know where we are. Just keep walking.
Mr. Dawson! Here, Captain. Any luck? Not yet, sir. But the men are fanning out now. Again, keep your eyes peeled.
They're drawing a cordon around us, Tom. We're sunk.
We've got to slip through somehow.
Wait a minute. What's that ahead? Where? That light. By Jupiter, it's the control tower. We're almost there, Harris. Keep going. Another 20 yards and we've made it. Oh, no.
It's no use, Harris. They've got it.
With only a few yards to go.
I'll take either of you, and I'll blast.
All right. We know when we're licked.
Okay. Let's have a look at you.
Hey, Tom. Tom, pipe this guy's uniform.
Why? He isn't from the Constellation.
Who said I was?
You're a port guard. You're from the tower.
That's right, and that's where I'm taking you to under arrest.
You'll take us to the port commander?
This minute. Now march.
Harris, we've made it.
Aye. When you explain everything to the port commander, our troubles are over.
Well, can't you walk any faster, guard? We're in a hurry.
You bet we are.
The two people under arrest, you look mighty pleased with yourself. Well, I guess it takes all kinds to make a universe.
It sure does. And it looks like we're the lucky kind.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett and the Space Cadets on Thursday, when the meeting with the port commander suddenly takes a sudden deadly turn, and Tom is sent back aboard the Constellation, headed for deep space. Tune in, same time, same station, for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Corn Flakes, the cereal that helps you have more punch till lunch. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, also appears in the comic sections of many of Canada's leading newspapers. Look for a daily and in weekend edition. Featured in the cast are Al Markham as Astro, Jan Merlin as Roger Manning, and Edward Bryce as Captain Strong. Today's program was directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking. The whole day starts out better when breakfast is fun. And one way to make breakfast fun is to have a different cereal every morning. How? That's easy. Easy for Mom, too. Ask her to get Kellogg's Variety Pack. Kellogg's Variety Pack is an assortment of cereals. 10 individual-sized boxes in one handy carton. And each individual box holds exactly one generous serving of a favorite Kellogg cereal. Yes, in Kellogg's Variety, they're all favorite cereals. Kellogg's Corn Flakes, Pep, Rice Krispies, and the new favorite Kellogg's Corn Pops, to mention just 4. And each serving stays extra crisp and fresh because it's in its own individual package. So just for fun, make breakfast fun. Ask Mom to get Canada's only cereal assortment, Kellogg's Variety Pack. Stand by for Space Cadet in 30 seconds.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
Yes, Kellogg's brings you the secret of a more delicious breakfast treat. It's new, it's wonderful. It's Kellogg's Raisin Bran, both fruit and cereal, all in one box. You get plump, tender raisins dipped in honeycomb, along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. So try the new fruit and cereal combination. Get Kellogg's Raisin Bran, because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And now, Kellogg's Corn Flakes, the cereal that helps you have more punch till lunch, invites you to rocket into the future with
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise ship. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Shanghaied from Earth and taken aboard the rocket ship Constellation bound for the star systems of outer space, Tom Corbett and Harris, the crewman who has befriended him, managed to escape while the ship refueled at Venusport, but were then captured by the port guards. Without delay, they were taken to the office of the port commander. And now Tom and Harris, still dressed in the drab dungarees of ordinary spacemen, stand at attention before a grim-faced warrant officer.
All right, now. Let's get this straight. You say your name is Tom Corbett, and that you're a cadet from Space Academy.
Yes, sir.
And you, Harris, are you a cadet too?
No, sir. I'm a spaceman. Second class from the Constellation.
I see. Corbett, what's a space cadet doing aboard the Constellation?
I told you, sir, I was Shanghai.
That's true, sir. He was.
I suppose you can identify yourself, Corbett?
Well, they took my uniform away from me. All my papers were in it.
You tell a pretty good story, Corbett, but that's all it is. Unless you can give me proof, I'll have to turn you over to your captain.
Wait, sir. It's easy enough to check. Radio Space Academy. Talk to Commander Arkwright.
That is impossible. Venus is in apposition to Earth. We're on the other side of the sun. We can't make radio contact for another week.
But there must be some way.
Check on Captain Pickering yourself. Talk to the crew.
I don't have to. Captain Pickering can speak for himself. He's waiting in the outer office.
What?
Send Captain Pickering in, please.
But, sir, he'll deny everything.
If you have any accusations to make, you can make them to his face.
You sent for me, Mr. Porter?
Yes, Captain. Come in, please.
I expected to find the port commander here.
He is inspecting the space stations on the equator. I'm handling this case.
That suits me, as long as I get my men back.
They tell a strange story, Captain Pickering. This fellow, Corbett, claims to be a space cadet.
Well, that's one I never heard before.
I wanted to check with you before I took action.
Nothing to check. It's a fairy tale.
Fairy tale, huh? Then how about letting Mr. Porter aboard the Constellation? Let him talk to the other space hands.
Mr. Porter's welcome aboard any time, but I'm sure he's got other things to do.
You're bluffing. If he knew what the conditions are aboard your
That's
ship...
enough out of you. As you can see, Mr. Porter, this boy's a troublemaker. Has been ever since he came aboard. I'm sorry we signed.
Then let me go.
I would. I'd leave you both here to be tried as deserters. But I'm short-handed.
The choice is up to you, Captain. By space law, you can turn him over to us for disciplinary action, or punish him yourself with a fine or extra duty.
Take us to the port commander. Give us a chance to tell him our story.
I'm in command here, Harris. I'll decide what to do with you.
Well, Mr. Porter, I think you can see from their actions what kind of men we're dealing with.
Yes, I certainly can.
Of course, if you want to wait for the port commander to make the final decision...
Not at all. Just get these troublemakers out of here and blast off.
Right you are. And don't worry. When I get them out in space, they'll learn to toe the mark.
Wow, looks like the space cadets are rocketing in all tubes. There's real adventure ahead, but they're ready for it. Have to be prepared for it all the time. And one way to do it is to make sure they get enough quick energy food. Helps them blast off in a hurry. Take breakfast, for instance. Every space cadet knows the importance of eating a good, nourishing breakfast every morning. And he knows to build it around Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Because Kellogg's Corn Flakes are a real quick energy food. As Astro would say,
Every spoonful of Kellogg's Corn Flakes helps me get set for a quick blast-off. Helps me zoom right off and helps me keep zooming right up till noon. Why, I wouldn't think of setting out on a mission without first fueling up on some quick energy food. And so, I always stow away a big bowl of Kellogg's Corn Flakes soon as I hear the alert.
and Astro could tell you, too, that there's mighty swell eating in a bowl of Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Kellogg's Special Toasting brings out all the sweet, lively corn flavor in every flake. So do as Astro does. Build your breakfast around Kellogg's Corn Flakes, and not only will you be having yourself a swell flavor treat, but you'll be helping yourself to more punch till lunch. More punch till lunch. More punch till lunch. With Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Unable to persuade the warrant officer in command of Venusport that he has been shanghaied, Tom Corbett is taken back aboard the rocket ship Constellation with his newfound friend, Harris. And the ship blasts off for a long voyage into deep space. Meanwhile, back at Space Academy.
Cadet Astro reporting his orders, sir.
Well, Astro, any luck?
Oh, not a bit, Captain Strong. We couldn't find a trace of Tom anywhere.
Come in.
Roger. Any luck? Yeah, I think so, Astro.
Well, out with it, Manning.
I found an cab driver in town and remember seeing Tom. He picked Tom up at a stand in town about 2300 Sunday night.
He must have been on his way back here to the academy.
No, the cabbie said Tom was sick or something. He was unconscious and a merchant spaceman had him in tow.
A merchant spaceman?
Yes, sir. The driver took both of them to the terminal spaceport, and the last he saw of Tom, he was being carried aboard a ship called the Constellation.
The Constellation? I've heard of her. She's a deep spacer. Usually travels out to Sirius and Alpha Centauri. Now, let me see now. I have a log of all space flights leaving Earth in the past 5 days. Oh, yes. Here we are. For the Constellation. She was due to stop at Venusport for supplies and to blast off for deep space at 0930 Earth time today.
Well, that's half an hour ago.
Come on up to the communications room, boys. We'll contact Venusport right now.
What are we waiting for, Captain Strong?
Now, we're in apposition to Venus. A direct signal can't get through. They're setting up a relay transmission, Earth to Mars, to Titan, and back to Venus. Captain Strong here.
Warrant Officer Porter, Venusport. Go ahead, Captain Strong.
Listen, Porter, this is urgent. Have you cleared the deep spacer Constellation yet?
The Constellation? She blasted off the Sirius 15 minutes ago. Why?
Well, we have good reason to believe that one of our cadets is being held illegally aboard that ship.
What?
A cadet by the name of Corbett. Tom Corbett.
Corbett? Great Jupiter. Are you sure, Captain?
Almost. Why? Have you seen him or heard anything about him?
Well, I don't quite know how to say this. I'm afraid I've made a terrible mistake.
Well, get to the point, man.
Well, Corbett was here, told me a fantastic story about being shanghaied, and I didn't believe it.
You didn't?
No, he didn't have any identification. Couldn't prove his story, so I sent him back to the Constellation.
Oh, that rockhead.
I'm sorry, Captain.
Well, never mind that now. Listen. Send every available patrol ship after the Constellation.
But there are none in port now. I can pull them off orbit, but it'll take 2 days to catch up.
2 days? Blast it, that's too long. They'd never make it.
Well, I'm terribly sorry, Captain. If there's anything else I can...
Oh, you've done enough already, Porter. End transmission. Well, there's only one ship faster than the Constellation, and that's the Polaris. How long will it take you two to get ready?
We're ready now, sir.
Good. Then get aboard the Polaris. We raise ship immediately.
Until 0700.
Hey, you hear that, Tom? 4 more hours on the power deck for us. What does Pickering think we are? We can't work like this on short rations. You'll see that we do. If that warrant officer at Venusport had only listened to me. You made a good try, Tom. Well, they don't pay off on tries, Harris. And now what? Do we just keep slaving down here until we drop? That's just about it, Tom. Until we drop. Another 4 hours. I can't take it, Tom. This heat. No water, no food. Okay. Take a breather, Harris. I'll cover for you. No, Tom, you'd only
get yourself in trouble.
Harris. Harris! Hey, give me a hand here. Someone help me. Quick! Well, how are you feeling now, Harris?
Better, Tom. That broth helped some.
Oh, that rotten space slug. He's trying to kill us.
I suppose so. He's master of this ship. He can do anything he wants.
Maybe. But I noticed some of the crew are beginning to grumble about the way he's working it.
They always grouse. Don't mean anything.
Listen, how many of the space hands do you figure would be loyal to Captain Pickering in case of trouble?
Trouble? You mean mutiny? Now, hold on, Tom. This is crazy. You can't pull a mutiny in deep space.
Why not?
There'd be no one to navigate. The ship would become a derelict.
I can navigate.
You?
Sure, I'm a space cadet. I've had plenty of training in astrogation. I know I could get the ship back to Venusport if I could just reach the controls.
We'd be taking an awful chance. Pickering would kill us if we failed.
It's better to go down fighting than die this way.
I've talked to some of the space hands, Tom. 5 of them are with us.
Good. Uh-oh. What now?
Now hear this. All hands report to the main deck on the double. Any man who fails to report will be shot. That is all.
What do you suppose that means?
I don't know, Tom, but I don't like the sound of it. I don't like it at all.
All right, you men, stand to.
Look, Harris, there's Captain Pickering.
And there's Dawson.
With a couple of deck officers.
They're all armed, ready for trouble.
Come on, come on. Tap your tubes and pay attention. That's better. Now, I don't have to tell you I'm an old hand in dealing with spacemen, and I've been watching you ever since we blasted off. You're a surly bunch of space rats. I don't like the looks of you, and I can smell a mutiny a light year away.
What do you mean?
You heard me. I said mutiny. I know who the ringleaders are, and I'm going to make an example of them. I promise it'll be an example you'll never forget. When I pick out these 2 men, I want the rest of you to go back to your station. Any man who lags will get 50 hours extra duty on short ration.
Wait, men. Listen to me.
Tom, no.
How long are you going to stand for this? Captain Pickering's no better than a pirate.
Come on, the red sack man.
This is your last chance. Take over the ship. I can get you back to work, and we'll put Pickering behind bars where he belongs.
Catch him up.
You did it, Tom. The men are starting to mutiny.
I got to get up to the control deck before Pickering does.
Go on, I'll take care of Dawson.
Right, but watch yourself. He's armed.
Don't worry. Get going.
Stop them, men.
Oh, no, you don't.
Look out, Harris.
Never mind me. Get to the control room. All right, Tom. Dawson's through. I'll take care of Pickering now.
Right. I'm at the control room hatch. Hold him for another second.
Men, stop him. Stop him. Don't let him close that hatch, men. Kill him.
Made it. Now for the controls. No time to plot a new orbit back to Earth. I'll have to swing her into a 180 turn and rack up a true course later. Let's see. Steering vane set for 1.5. Full burst on starboard jets. And take a lateral sweep. That should do it.
Corbett, this is Captain Pickering. Now listen to me.
What do you want, Pickering?
I'll make a deal with you.
Fat chance. I've got control of the ship now.
Open the hatch, Corbett. Give yourself up.
Nothing doing, Pickering. You're over a barrel and you know it.
We put down the mutiny and captured your friend Harris.
What?
I have him right here beside me. If you give yourself up, I won't blast him. You have my word on that. If you refuse, he gets it.
How do I know you're telling the truth?
I'll put him on so you'll know he's still alive. All right, Harris, go ahead.
Tom, don't trust him. Save yourself. Nobody can help me anymore.
All right, Corbett, his life is in your hands. Now I'm going to count to 10. If you don't open the hatch, Harris gets it. 1, 2.
I can't let him shoot Harris and cold blood. But if I give myself up... Oh, what's the use? I don't have any choice.
Just 2 more seconds left, Corbett.
Okay, Pickering, you win. Don't shoot, Pickering. The hatch is open.
How are we doing, Astro? Any word from Manning topside?
No, he's glued to the radar scanner, Captain Strong, but nothing to report yet.
Well, frankly, I don't think we have a prayer of overtaking a Constellation. She's got too big a lead on it.
I hate to admit it, sir, but I'm afraid you're right.
Captain Strong, I've got a scanner reading.
With a Constellation?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure, Roger?
Look, Astro, if you ran your power deck as well as I handle the radar bridge, we wouldn't have any problems.
All right, cut that, Manning. What's their position?
I'll show it to you on the solar chart, sir. There's the spot.
Well, that's strange. The ship must have made a lateral sweep off course and then corrected it.
Why would they do that?
Well, I don't know, Astro. But it's given us the break we need. We can overtake her now.
Then who cares why they did it?
Stand by, Tom. We're on our way.
All right, Captain Pickering, you're back in control of your ship. Now, where's Harris?
You won't be seeing Harris anymore, Corbett.
What do you mean? If you gave your word, he wouldn't be harmed.
You weren't listening closely. I said I wouldn't blast him, and I didn't.
Then what happened? Where is he?
Drifting somewhere in space.
Why, you filthy space
Not
rat!
so, Corbett, or I'll blast you to a cinder.
Why don't you get it over with?
Because with Dawson gone, I'm short a navigator. You're taking Dawson's place.
You're space happy. I'll never navigate this
Don't
ship.
try anything.
Attention, Constellation. Attention, Constellation. Polaris pulling alongside with boarding party.
Message received and understood.
Looks like you're all washed up, Pickering. When they find me here,
Sorry to disappoint you, Corbett, but when the boarding party arrives, they won't find any trace of you on this ship. I'm getting rid of you once and for all.
And now, all you future space cadets, boys and girls, let's take time out for a question to start off our Kellogg's Cornflakes Space Quiz to see how your knowledge of space and the universe is. Here's our first question. What is it that distinguishes the planet Saturn that makes it different? The one thing that helps you tell it from all others. Well, it's simply that the planet Saturn is surrounded by a tremendous ring. That's where the space cadets get the expression rings of Saturn. And here's an easier question. What is it that makes Kellogg's Cornflakes the favorite ready-to-eat cereal of the whole universe? The answer to that one is easy. It's that famous Kellogg flavor. The way Kellogg's special toasting process brings out all the sweet, lively corn flavor in each golden flake makes each flake crisp and tender. Yes, flavor is what makes Kellogg's Cornflakes the favorite ready-to-eat cereal of people everywhere. It's the kind of flavor that brings you back for seconds, keeps you reaching for that box of Kellogg's Cornflakes time after time, morning after morning. So make sure you get the one and only Kellogg's Cornflakes.
When Tom's desperate attempt at mutiny fails, his last chance of escape from the rocket ship Constellation is seemingly gone. Then suddenly the Polaris draws alongside, and Captain Pickering is ordered to stand by for a boarding party. Captain Strong and Cadets Astro and Manning make a thorough search of the Constellation, but can find no trace of Tom.
Now, look here, Strong. I'm getting a little fed up with this. You're delaying my voyage for no reason at all. You and your blasted cadets don't get off my ship in 2 minutes, I'll see that you're broken.
You'll be cleared when we've finished our search, Pickering, not before.
Captain Strong! Captain Strong!
Yes, Astro.
We found something,
You
sir.
did?
Yes, sir. Tom. Tried to search the entire ship from nose to tail. The cadet you're looking for isn't aboard.
Now, listen.
Now I insist that you let me resume course. You've had your chance. I've given you every bit of cooperation. What more do you want?
Please, Skipper, don't let him talk you out of it.
Oh, it isn't a question of talking me out of anything. We've searched the ship, and we haven't found Tom.
But his watch, sir.
You might be mistaken, Astro. All right, Pickering. Let's go back to the control deck, and I'll sign your clearance into the log.
What are we going to do? Look, the skipper's signing the log. In another 2 minutes, Pickering will be underway again. I know, Roger, and I'm just as sure as you are that Tom's aboard somewhere. But how can we prove it?
All right, Pickering, there you are. You're cleared for the rest of your voyage. Thank you.
That does it, Astro. Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Look at that indicator on the control panel. Huh? Which one? The main rocket firing tube. One of them has mass in the reactor. So what? But we're drifting. There shouldn't be anything in the tube. The reactors only feed in during acceleration. Hey, you're right. Say, Roger, did you check those tubes? Did you look inside them? Oh, did you? Jumping Martian mice. I wonder...
All right, boys. Let's get back aboard the Polaris.
Oh, wait a minute, sir. There's something wrong.
Are you starting that routine again, Cadet? Get them off my ship.
No, Skipper, listen. We didn't search the firing tube. And there's some kind of mass in one of them. Look at the control panel indicator.
Why, that's just a gas accumulation. Here, I'll blast it out for you.
No, get away from that panel.
Get your hands off me, you young face. I'm sorry to be
Disrespectful, sir, but maybe this'll stop you.
Oh, that.
Yeah, throw right on a button. Sorry I had to do that, sir, but if he fired up that tube with Tom in it...
Well, I know, Astro, but you'd better get down there right now and make sure you're right. If Tom isn't there, then you're in trouble.
Well, Tom, how does it feel to be in a cadet uniform again?
I never thought I'd be so glad to wear one, Roger.
You sure had us worried, Tom. Speak for yourself, Astro. I wasn't worried about the lug for a minute.
All right, boys, take your stations and prepare for deceleration. We enter Earth's atmosphere in 4 minutes.
Right, Captain Strong. It can't be too soon for me, sir.
Aren't you worried about getting back, Tom?
Worried, sir?
Well, you're over 2 weeks AWOL, you know.
Jumping jets? I forgot about that.
Look at his face. He really is worried.
Well, who wouldn't be? 2 weeks AWOL? Oh, gosh, sir, what do you think they'll do to me?
Well, under the circumstances, I think Commander Arkwright won't be too hard on you.
Of course, he may not give you any weekend leave for a while.
Weekend leave? After what happened on my last one, I don't think I'll ever take another as long as I live.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett and the Space Cadets when death lurks in the void as the boys begin Operation Hide and Seek. Tune in, same time, same station for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Corn Flakes, the cereal that helps you have more punch till lunch. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, also appears in the comic sections of many of Canada's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend edition. Featured in the cast are Al Markham as Astro, Jan Merlin as Roger Manning, and Edward Bright as Captain Strong. Today's program was directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking. Say, like to make breakfast more fun, have a different cereal every morning? Then ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety Pack. You see, Kellogg's Variety Pack is an assortment of all favorite cereals. 10 individual-sized packages in one handy cart. With Kellogg's Variety on the table, you can pick and choose to your heart's content from such favorites as Kellogg's Corn Flakes, Pep, Rice Krispies, Kellogg's Raisin Bran, and others. Remember, each of the 10 individual packages in Kellogg's Variety Pack is a generous serving. You choose and open your own package yourself. And because each package contains exactly one bowl full, the cereals stay extra crisp and fresh. So just for fun, make breakfast fun. Ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety Pack.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents The Mysterious Traveler, written, produced, and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Cogan, and starring tonight two of radio's foremost actors, Ralph Bell and Robert Dryden, in The Last Survivor.
This is the Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and the terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, and it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves, and be comfortable, if you can, as we journey into the unknown in the story I call The Last Survivor. In a small 6 by 10 feet radio compartment, a man sits sprawled in the transmission operator's chair. His hair is unkempt, his face bearded. He stares at the panel board before him with vacant, bloodshot eyes. Now and then, as though in a dream, and as if for the 1000th time, he leans forward and picks up a wireless radio phone.
Calling base, San Augustine. Come in, base, San Augustine. Over. Calling base, San Augustine. Come in, San Augustine. Over.
They don't answer, do they?
No, Connors, I'm afraid not. How do you feel?
I'm all right. Colonel, why don't you try another channel?
I've tried them all. Haven't been able to make contact.
Have you checked the equipment?
Yes, to the best of my ability. As far as I can see, it seems to be in working order.
Maybe if you were to help me to my feet, I could double-check it for you.
No, Connors, lie where you are. Don't try getting up. Take it easy.
But I'm a radio man. I know the equipment.
Later, Connors, later. Is there anything I can get you? Food, water?
No. No, thank you, Colonel. It's strange. Just the two of us. Out here. Like this.
Yes.
What will you do when you're alone, Colonel?
Alone?
I can't last much longer.
Oh, nonsense, Connors. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right, do you hear?
Who are you kidding, Colonel? Me? Or yourself? It's a strange way to end up, isn't it?
A strange way to end up? Yes. I remember that day so long ago. So very long ago. I feel as if I were looking back on another age. And perhaps I am. What year was it? 1947? Yes. It was a year like so many the world has known. It was a year of war and peace, of fear and hope, of feast and famine. And I was stationed at the Army Air Base at San Augustine, New Mexico, chief of the experimental rocket section. It was in the spring of 1947, May 8th to be exact, that I was ordered to report at General Farnsworth's office.
Come in.
Colonel Worthy reporting, sir.
Come in, Dick. Have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Orders have just come through for you to report to the chief in Washington.
Washington?
That's right.
Have you any idea what it's about, sir?
Yes, I was speaking to the chief just a few minutes ago. Seems they're interested in those spaceship plans you submitted to them.
My interplanet rocket ship plans?
Yes. The chief and his technical staff seem to think you did an excellent job. It started a certain amount of activity.
But, sir, I clearly stated in my accompanying report that a flight into space is impossible at this time. The fuel just doesn't exist that can power an interplanet spaceship.
It seems that you're wrong, Dick.
Wrong?
Yes. According to Professor Murray, atomic power could make your interplanet ship practical. And if anyone should know, it would be Professor Murray. He helped develop the atomic bomb.
You mean he's interested?
So I understand. The chief's going to ask for an appropriation of $20 million for the development and construction of an atomic-powered spaceship. You and Professor Mare are to work on the project jointly. How soon can you leave?
I'll be ready in an hour, sir.
There'll be a plane at your disposal.
Good luck. Thank you, sir.
Well, I've looked forward for some time now to meeting you, Colonel.
Thank you, Professor Murray. Why did you become interested in my plan, sir?
As you know, I am one of the scientists who helped develop the atomic bomb. It was a terrible responsibility, and we scientists must answer to a great extent for its use. I'm hoping that through a successful spaceship, mankind will turn to peaceful uses of atomic energy.
I understand, sir.
I've studied your plans with minute care, and the ship you've blueprinted is a masterpiece of design.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh, not at all. You deserve praise for your work. Now, as for the fuel problem, I'm convinced atomic energy is the answer.
But, Professor, what about the radiation danger, if it were used?
We would have to design and construct an engine that would be a complete unit in itself, and completely sealed off from the rest of the ship. Now, according to my calculations, very rough calculations at the moment, the ship would have to achieve an acceleration of 4h to reach a velocity of 8 miles a second, at which speed it could attain enough momentum.
A little over 2 years later, the completed XIP-1 was wheeled from its hangar in San Augustine, New Mexico. Its towering cylindrical body rose 240 feet into the air, and its silver nose, pointing skyward, gleamed under the strong sun. The field was cleared of all personnel, and from a concrete observation control tower 2 miles away, Professor Murray and I prepared to send it on its first test flight.
Well, Dick, this is it. The culmination of all our years of work. There's the XIP out there ready for flight.
Yes. Well, the next few hours will tell all. Field's been cleared, Professor. We're ready to proceed.
Then take over, Dick. I'll stand by. Keep an eye on the observation radar and control course.
Sound flight warning signal.
Sound flight warning signal.
Switch on control panel.
Switch on control panel.
Switch on tower receiver.
Switch on tower receiver.
Switch on XIP flight radio center.
Switch on XIP flight radio center.
Cut in nuclear jet number 1.
Cut in nuclear jet number 1.
The ship is hovering, Dick.
Yes. Cut in nuclear jet number 2.
Cut in nuclear jet number 2.
There goes the XIP. She's taking off.
Instrument reading.
Rate of flight, 500 miles per hour. Altitude, 1,000 feet. Rate of flight, 2,000 miles per hour. Altitude, 90,000 feet. Rate of altitude, 4,000 miles per hour. Altitude, 100,000 feet.
Hour after hour, we traced the flight of the XIP through space. When night came, the ship's flaming tail became visible to the naked eye as it traveled further and further into the infinite. At dawn, after the XIP had flown well over 1 million miles, electronic light signals were sent out to reverse the ship's course and direct it back toward Earth. 12 hours later, the XIP landed safely at the San Augustine base. It was that moment. It was the beginning of a new age. The age of interplanet travel. A year passed. The XIP made test flight after test flight, flying greater and greater distances on automatic radio instrument control. And finally, the day came when we were ready. Ready to consider the first human flight into space.
Well, Dick, After weeks of discussion with our leading scientists, our objective has been selected.
What's it to be, Professor?
The planet Mars.
Oh. Oh, why Mars?
Oh, for a number of very excellent reasons. Mars is the closest planet to us. Furthermore, it's the planet that we know the most about, little as that may be.
Mars, that would be a flight of approximately 50 million miles one way.
Yes. How soon do you think the XIP can be prepared for such a flight?
Oh, I should estimate 30 days.
30 days. All right, Dick. We'll set September 15th as flight day.
Ready for flight, sir. The crew are at their station.
Thank you. Is there anything, Professor, you want to say before we take off?
No, Dick. Everyone's been thoroughly briefed.
Well, then the moment's arrived. Stand by for flight orders.
Stand by for flight orders.
Sound warning signal.
Sound warning signal.
Fasten safety belts.
Fasten safety belt.
Switch on flight vision screen.
Switch on flight vision screen.
Establish contact with base.
Establish contact with base.
Cut in nuclear jet number 1.
Cut in nuclear jet number 1.
Cut in nuclear jet number 2.
Cut in nuclear jet number 2.
We're off.
Instrument reading.
Flight distance covered. 5,000 feet. Time, 5 seconds. Flight velocity, 600 miles per hour. Flight distance covered. 80,000 feet. Time, 9 seconds. Flight velocity, 2,000 miles per hour.
With each passing second, the XIP gains speed, carrying us ever faster towards the edge of the Earth's gravitational field. All was silent in the command room, except for the voice of the control officer reading the instrument panels. As the 8-minute flight mark approached,